Oh.
All right, now it's recording.
Bet.
Yeah. Let's give it like another second because I want to get. There we go. I just got the notification. It went live.
Liddy.
Make sure I didn't spell anything wrong. Why does Nintendo have no black characters? A discussion on anti-blackness in nerd culture. Perfect. Hi, Julia. Can you check? Do we sound good? Can y'all hear us good?
Can y'all hear us good?
um, just want to make sure I'm not echoey or like too quiet or anything. You sound good? Okay. Perfect.
Yay. We love to see it.
So I guess we can kind of start. I just want to first start off with like who you are. Obviously, I know you, but like just like an overview of who you are, what you do, and kind of maybe your relationship with nerd culture. We can talk about that a little bit first too.
Yeah, so hey everyone, I'm Tayla, also known as Everything TMI on my social media platforms. I am a 23-year-old graduate student at Central European University. I study history, and in undergrad I went to Syracuse with Quincy, where I got my bachelor's degrees in, what did I study? Political science and history. So yeah, like this is kind of my vibe, like talking about different social issues and things like that. And in my relationship to nerd culture, very long history. Definitely a nerd before I ever was any type of academic, clearly, as you can see. Yeah, so I would say that, like, I was very much, like, in the anime gaming realm, like, mid 2000s to, like, mid 2010s, and then I kind of like fell off a little bit in terms of like being active in like community circles because of a lot of the nonsense that would happen. And the older I got, the more I was kind of turned off by some things. So like I took a step back, but I still like on occasion, still dabble in gaming, still dabble in anime, stuff like that. But it's not as strong and powerful of an involvement that it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, as of recent, like especially now that like I'm on TikTok and stuff, I see like a lot of like cute cosplay stuff and like anime stuff or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I kind of miss it a little bit, just a
Yeah.
tad. So like I caught myself like rewatching a bunch of shows. Like I just rewatched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, that like fucked me up as an older person. I didn't get it when I was younger, but
Yeah.
like now I'm like, oh my god, it's crazy. But yeah, so that's me, nerd culture.
And let's like I think this
Taylor.
is a good time to plug. Like you did a podcast episode
I
about this
did.
kind of same topic. If you want to like give
I
that
did.
info.
So, shameless plug. I have a podcast called TMI the Podcast. It's on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts and anywhere else that you listen to podcasts. I did a episode called Black Femme and Nerd with my friends Ryan and who else did I do that with? And Jordan, Ryan and Jordan.
Yeah.
And we all three of us went to high school together. We were all in anime club. I was the president of my anime club in high school. Fun fact. Sad. Fun fact. Very, very sad fact. Yeah, I was anime club president in high school. And we were just like talking about like, anti-blackness in the nerd community, specifically like the anime community itself. My friend gets more into the gaming community and like that anti-blackness that exists there. Because they do a lot more gaming than I did or do now. But yeah, so that's that episode. So give it a check out. It's really cool.
Yeah, and also on the same thing, make sure you follow her on Instagram and TikTok at Everything TMI. Also, if you want to support her individually, you can Venmo her at Tayla Myree. And we are also trying to raise money for Tayla to get a Switch, so that next time we do this, we can game. So if you want to donate to her Switch fund, Venmo me at Quincy-Nolan. I'll order it for her after this.
I would love a Switch.
Bitch, we're getting you a Switch regardless. Like, period. It is a done deal. You're getting a Switch. But, so, just because Nintendo is what I focus on so much, like, in my streams and in, like, my nerd circles or whatever, I kind of want to start the conversation there because I know you have, like, a history with Nintendo, too. And when we first started having this conversation, I was like, oh, I'm going to call it, like, why does Nintendo have so few black characters? And then we were like, can't think of any. It was like,
It's really awkward.
what are they? So then that's why we changed the title to Why Does Nintendo Have No Black Characters? And then I did a little bit more research, and I think they're the ones that are like prominent would be like DJ Marina from Splatoon, Twintel from I don't know if
Yeah.
I pronounced that right from Arms, Nessa from Pokemon, and then I think there's two in Sun and Moon, um, Olivia and Kawi. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but I think they also might be Eastern Islander. But so basically, there's like less than five prominent like I can name Black Nintendo characters, and I know you have a little bit more experience with like because like Nintendo's a Japanese company, like you have a little more experience with like that kind of culture. I'm wondering if you have any insight on why you think they're just like, I mean, besides the blanket like racism, like why do you see there's so few characters here?
Yeah, so I think that that's such a good question. I wouldn't say necessarily like culturally, I don't really know if there's like a reason for that. Like in Japanese culture, like there's a reason why there's no black characters. Like I think like Japan like has a very homogenous culture. Um, but I think in terms of like their ideas or what their ideas have been in order to reach out to Western audiences was to, reach out to white people and whiteness, right? So like making all of these white characters that would appeal to like the white Westerners, right?
Right.
So like, making it within their likeness in order for them to like indulge and like buy more of their merchandise and games and things like that because they can see themselves in the games. And for a long time, this is like not a uniquely Japanese thing, but this like a Western thing that like in Western consumption or whatever, this idea that like blackness is not commodifiable or like necessary or one of like popular, right?
Yeah.
Which we now know absolutely not true and never has been true, right? And that also this idea that like there's no black people in nerd culture, like there's no black people that game, there's no black people that consume anime or Eastern cultures or whatever, which is just bullshit, right? Like my dad, the reason I ever got into gaming, anime, anything like that is because of my dad and my older brother. So like my dad, like when I was younger, like my dad was every single time a new system dropped, he was there. So like Nintendo 64, the Sega, anything that was like Sega related, like all of those really old games, like he was always there. Like
Yeah.
my aunt was gaming, like my aunt was playing Legend of Zelda on the N64 when I was younger, right?
Right.
Like these are all like things that like my family was doing, and it wasn't even necessarily that they were like involved to a point where to a point where it was like community like involvement, right? It was more to a point of like, oh, this is a hobby that we like to do, like gaming is fun because it is, right? And we're gonna buy these systems for our households and like play. So I think there's like this really weird idea that black people aren't interested, but also black people don't have the money, right, to
Yeah.
afford these games and indulge in them. So we're not going to, like make it in their likeness. But it's like, black people and gaming and like anime culture and things like that like have always been a thing. Like there's this weird, I don't know, like if you're a black person watching, like you probably know that like black people have this weird obsession with like kung fu and karate movies as well. Like there's always been like this really interesting like connection between like black folks and Eastern culture. And like that's a whole other different conversation. And like we kind of delved into it on like the podcast episode I was talking about. But like, like this ability to see someone that's not white thriving, I guess, is probably why black people are into like anime and like Eastern culture and stuff like that. But yeah, so I think that, they were doing what they felt like was commodifiable and like would
Right.
make some money because, Nintendo is a multi-billion-dollar company now,
Mm-hmm.
for making games that everyone loves. And I think now they're starting to see like, oh crap, like, we're not, our audience isn't just like people anymore,
Yeah.
or never was genuinely. So yeah.
Right. And so let me remind the chat too. If anyone has any questions throughout the whole thing, feel free to drop them and we'll get to them. Just don't be an asshole. Another like the thing that is interesting is Nintendo posted a tweet that was like, "Oh, Nintendo's devoted to fighting racism and like being anti-racist and this kind of thing." And it's like, okay, that's great for like a Twitter publicity thing, but then you look at like the Super Smash Bros. Roster, everyone's here. It's like 70 characters, and like the closest thing to a black character. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the closest thing to a black character we get is like a secondary skin. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and a lot of like the gaming culture. Like the nerd community is racist and like queerphobic and transphobic, and like you see so much of this discourse on Twitter, where it's like, oh, why does it have to be about race? Like, why does it have to be centered around race? And it's like, well, first off, Mario being Italian is like such a big thing for his character. You know what I mean? Like, if it
Yeah.
wasn't like you're just that is just like a false argument. And then another thing is like, they'll pick at the like four black characters we have, and if you even Google like black characters in Nintendo, you'll see like a million articles that are like there are actually people of color in Nintendo, and it's like six
And that's
people.
the thing, they don't even say. I was looking it up too, and
Yeah,
it's like, oh, black characters, but then when you're reading the article, it's like we think they might be black, but they also could be X person
right,
of color.
right.
Like we're gonna focus on black and brown characters, but we don't really even know like the ethnicities of like these characters anyway. So it's just kind of like I don't know.
And at this point, when it's like, if we're looking at like made up races, that doesn't count as good enough representation. You know what I mean? Like, people like to talk about, I mean, I do too, because I love Legend of Zelda and I love the Gerudos and those kind of things, but it's like, that is not a real group of people. So you can't be like,
Exactly.
oh, look, we're so diverse and have this representation, because it's like, maybe actually just put a real black person in your games.
It's also like, why not?
Yeah,
Like, why not? Add some flavor, add some spice. Like
yeah,
it doesn't take away. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I don't understand is like within the gaming community, white gamers that get pissed off, right? About well, why do y'all make everything about race and blah 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 blah? And it's like, why? What does it harm if we add a black character to the game?
right.
Who is it hurting? Like, well, what does it take away from the actual franchise if we add a black character to the game? And you can't get an answer to that because unless you're like anti-black, which like a lot of
Right.
people are, they're not going to answer that question because there is no like net loss for adding a black character to the game.
Right, and it's like
You know what I mean?
they can't answer that question because it's like it
Mhm,
boils down to racism. Like that's
mhm,
what it is. You know what I mean? Like they don't
mhm,
think that a black princess will sell the way Princess Peach does, or like
mhm.
won't be desirable in the same way. And that
And
kind
that's
of
the thing, and like people are sick of like the changing of the skins too, because it's just like I I've it's kind of like a discussion like in the black nerd community now about like people doing fan art and just like turning already
yeah,
existing characters
I was
into
just gonna say
black
that.
characters, and like we just want new characters. Like we don't want to have to be like there's white Peach and there's black Peach. Why can't we just have a new character like
Right.
overall? Like you know what I mean? And like y'all come up with new characters all the time.
Mhm.
So it's like it doesn't really make sense like why we can't add like a new character. Don't do it just cause you know what I'm saying. Like don't like create some dusty lukewarm black character that's like
Yeah.
lame. But like actually be like okay, like let's diversify it a little bit, and it also just makes the stories interesting and makes the new moves that you could come up with, all of that. Like it just adds to the game. Like it doesn't take away from it. So
Right.
yeah.
When I see a lot of like a lot of the excuses I see from Nintendo fans online are it's like, oh, we've used these same characters forever. Like they use the same Mario, Link, and Zelda. You know what I mean? Like in every single game. And it's like, yeah, but if these are like reincarnations of these characters, I just don't understand why there can't be a black one. But the thing is, could you imagine the like backlash if like in a game Princess Peach was black? And like you said, like you'd rather just have like a new character. But could you imagine the uproar
I didn't
if
think
like
about that to be honest. Like
well, that's the thing, because like, I was gonna
people
ask
would
you.
lose it. They would lose their minds.
Yeah,
They would lose their minds, and it's depressing. Like
well, because we saw that with like Little Mermaid. You know what I mean? That was like a perfect example of
mhm.
like
We
that
saw
kind
it
of
with
backlash.
Miles Morales,
Yeah,
and which is also not weird because like even in the Marvel franchise, Marvel and DC franchises, they're reincarnations of mostly all of their characters anyway. And sometimes they change race or they change like the people change, like it's
yeah,
not the same people.
right.
And so people like Spider-Man isn't black, like these liberals and blah blah blah. And I'm like, yo, chill out. Like if you actually are a fan of these comics, you would know that like new arcs start every
Yeah,
so years, and it's new people. It's literally a different person that takes up the mantle of that superhero. Like it's passed
yeah,
on, and people are just so freaking stupid. Like it's just like there's fake outrage in response to outrage that's perceived. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like they think that like, oh, the reason Miles Morales exists is because like, oh, the liberals like were like we absolutely have to have like a black like Spider-Man or whatever, which isn't
Mhm.
the case, right? Like that's just not true. It's like the new person who was writing decided to create a new arc for Spider-Man, and it wasn't because of liberal outrage, it's because the writer wanted that to happen.
Right.
And it's not a new thing. Like, characters take on new arcs all of the time in that specific franchise. And the same thing, like, in Nintendo, you know what I'm saying? Like, for example, like with Pokemon or whatever, in every single new rendition of Pokemon, there's new leaders, gym
Mm-hmm.
leaders, new regions, new characters, like, that are kind of a play. And then you have your new, like, you have your old Pokemon that continuously, like, you can find in every region,
Right.
apparently, right? But, like, you have a new region of Pokemon, you have a new region of trainers
People.
and, like, gym leaders. So it's like, it's not crazy to be like, oh wow, like, maybe we should, like, diversify it since we're gonna go into a reincarnation of this game again anyway.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like,
I
well,
don't
like
know.
literally with Legend of Zelda, it's a different Link in Zelda every single game. It is 100 years later. It is a new reincarnation. Like, there is no reason, literally no reason that they couldn't be a person of color, specifically a black person. I think like just catching myself there, we probably should just say black because that's what we're talking about here. Because they'll try to pass off any sort of tan character as like the pinnacle of diversity, and right now we are talking
Yeah.
about black characters.
And that's why everybody's confused as to what characters are black and what characters
For
are not
real.
black. And it's like, you know a black character when you see it.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't even know, like, why. That's the thing. Like, even in these articles that people are writing about, like, black characters, they're like, oh, like, are they black? Like, are they not black? Like, let's
Yeah.
think, like, weird, like, think pieces. And it's like, we know a black character, we see a black character. Like,
Right.
they are black or they're not black. Like, it's not that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and it's like, I don't know, we focus on black people right now, but it's just like, there's a slew of characters and different ethnicities and backgrounds you can give different characters as well. So it's just like, yeah.
And like that thing where I mean, of course, I already said this, but just like, there's no question that Mario's Italian. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so we don't want to
Mm-hmm.
have to question where these characters are black or not. Like, it should be explicit, and that shouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
hard. I did want to bring
Yeah.
up just like the fan art thing that you mentioned. One of my favorite things is like when people make Princess Peach, Princess Daisy, Rosalina Black, and they like
Mm-hmm.
post that. But like
Mm-hmm.
every single time I've seen any of that gain any sort of traction, there's always people in the comments that are like, "This is racist," like this is white blackwashing or that kind of thing. And I think it was, and I
Sorry.
mean you can, right?
That's so ridiculous because I see it too. And it makes
Yeah,
me like, it angers me, but it's also funny because it's like white people want to be oppressed so bad.
literally,
Like, y'all have the entire Nintendo franchise. Japanese people don't even have the entire Nintendo franchise
right,
unlocked. Y'all do. Like, and y'all want to complain that somebody's drawing somebody black?
right. Well, and that's the
Are
thing,
you
'cause it's
kidding
like
me?
we it's racist to whitewash because we already have so much as white people
Mm-hmm.
to characters to look like us to choose from. But like with black people, and I mean you can speak more on this, they don't. So for them to create a space in this culture that has like explicitly not been for them or designed for them, like how can we try and take that away? Like what more do we want in terms of their like in their art too? Like I don't know. It's so fucked up. And I'm sure you've been more like entrenched in that community because I know you were like early Tumblr days and like that kind of
Really
thing.
something. Well, it's
Yeah.
also just like, okay, let's get into that because it's like, for one, blackwashing, whitewashing aside, it's fan art.
Yeah.
It is fan art. It is fan art. People can draw whatever the fuck they want to draw. Like, if Cuomo wants to make someone bigger, if they want to make them smaller, if they want to make them tall, if they want to make them short, if they want a gender bend a character, like, this has always been a thing in fan art, period.
Yeah.
Like, that's the beauty of fan art, is like taking on the original art piece and making it something new or like lovable or digestible or like making it more accessible, right? Like, that's the cool thing about art, is that it's malleable. So
Right.
like anyone that's like complaining that, oh my god, like this is X, like whatever, like people do things with fan art, like because it's their fan art, let people do their thing, like it's art.
Hmm.
Anyways, on the whitewashing's not, I mean, blackwashing isn't real.
Literally not a thing.
It's not a thing. There's no such thing as blackwashing because there is, like, I'm just like, okay, let's be honest. What we have to analyze, like, what changes for white people in the gaming space when someone changes the race of a character in fan art, not even the official character, in fan art, what does that take away from white people?
Yeah.
you know the difference between whitewashing characters, you take away the one character that people like,
Right, exactly.
right? So it's like even with cosplay, right? And I think I like have like a there's different you know there's different whatchamacallits opinions about cosplaying and like if you can or cannot cosplay as black characters or whatever. And I'm like, girl, y'all can cosplay as whatever character you want, just don't do blackface.
Right.
Like if you want to cosplay as Garnet, do that. Just don't paint your face black. Like you can paint your face like red or whatever. That's fine. But do not paint your face black. Like
Right.
it's so simple. Like do not do that. Because like when black people cosplay as white characters or as Japanese characters, white people get in a tizzy defending Japanese people by defending Japanese people when black people cosplay as Japanese characters. But it's like, what other characters are they supposed to cosplay as?
Right.
There's like maybe 10 anime characters I can name on the top of my head that are black. They're doing way better now. Like I would say the anime industry is like doing so much better. Like Chef's Kiss. I've been seeing a lot of beautiful character
Yeah.
designs coming out recently, but it's just like, you know, like back in the day we had nobody to cosplay as. Like who was I cosplaying as? I was
Right.
cosplaying as this lady right here, Bonnie Suzumiya, because she's my favorite human being.
Yeah.
I love her. I was cosplaying as No Face, who's not even human. I cosplayed Hell Girl. I've cosplayed Fiona from Adventure Time. She ain't black.
Right.
Like I've cosplayed so many people. I don't think I've ever cosplayed a black character before.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm black, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I never painted myself white to do that because it's not necessary. Like,
Right.
why would you do that?
Right.
So, I mean, like, I just get really irritable, like, when people are like, oh, you know, black characters, y'all are liberalizing things too much, y'all are asking for too much. Like, black people, you got your one character, that one girl in Pokemon who
Right.
don't know what she is. Because she, like, I was excited, right? I forgot her name. Like, she was traveling with Ash.
Oh yeah.
Ash
That,
and friends.
that was Gen
And
4.
I don't remember which arc of Pokemon that was, but like it definitely came out when I was like in middle school or like elementary school or something. I was like, okay, go ahead, brown sis.
Right.
Period. Like I don't know what she was, but she wasn't white. So I was like, go ahead, go off. And Brock
Yeah.
was like was the representation. Now I can think of a black character, Brock.
Yeah.
Was the representation. But like, you know, it was cool to see someone that kind of resembled a black girl or just like a brown girl, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like be on television on like in a cartoon that I really liked. And I was like, oh shit, like this is so cool. Like, like I feel seen, you know?
Yeah.
But that's the one character. And then people are like, but y'all already got her. What else do you need? And it's like, y'all have full on franchises with only white characters, and it only becomes a problem when non-white people want a character.
Right.
And it's like, just because there's one character isn't enough.
Right.
Period.
If we
Like,
can have
there's more
the
than
biggest
one black person.
right. If we can have the biggest fighting game in history have 70 people in it and none of them are black, like right. Like I've been
Can y'all
ignoring
hear
the
me
chat. Y'all hear me good? I've been ignoring the chat, so let me read some of the things that came in. Someone said like how Republicans are about the new Little Mermaid. Yeah, we covered that. Also with the new Star Wars with John Bodega and Kelly Marie Tran. Exactly. How are white people going to colonize and whitewash all of history and then accuse people of blackwashing? Literally. And then history is written by the victor. With history, there's different elements too. Definitely.
I'm a historian. I
Right.
can speak on that.
Right. She's like the most qualified.
Well, I don't got my PhD yet.
It's
My
on the
master's
way.
right now. I will be getting my PhD and will become the most qualified person.
Right.
But like, yeah, it's just like, but even this idea of like, history is written by the victors. Like, yes and no. Like, the publicized history is written by the victors, but like, people of color and marginalized people have always carried their own histories.
Yeah.
And published it amongst themselves and have tried to like make it accessible to people that are outside of their communities, but no one people don't see marginalized communities as credible, and that's a whole nother conversation, right?
Right.
So even, you know, there's problems with that phrase of like history is written by the victors, and it's like, no, like people keep oral histories, people keep their own histories within their community. It's like, which history is valued more,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's like, us as a society have to, you know, really do some internal work, as they say, and, you give rise and like attention to histories that are marginalized and like aren't, seen as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is a good time to also remind everyone we're trying to buy Tayla a Switch. If y'all have a few extra dollars, my Venmo is listed there. Also, you just want to support Tayla, her Venmo is listed there too. But we are getting her a Switch, so next time she comes up in here, we can be gaming together. Um, Another thing that I'm curious about is like I think it is not. No, I think it's like appropriate to demand that when we get these diverse characters, queer characters, black characters, whatever, that they are written and made by black people, queer. You know what I mean? Like they are made by the people who know the stories, who can like tell these stories.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think we've both seen too many times in this culture that when they just have a white person write a story that's not theirs, like it just
Mm-hmm.
it's not as successful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you have anything to weigh in on with that.
Yeah, like my thing is it's like what I what I advise people if you're writing in a fictional sense, right? I don't have a problem with white people writing black characters if it's fiction. But if you're trying to bring elements of black culture into that character, have a black person read over the
Mm-hmm.
elements in the character and let you know that something is problematic, right? Or fucked up. I remember like there was that whole debate with Twintel and her hair and like her hair being like used as a weapon and like
Yeah.
like what implications that has and everything. And like, like the black community doesn't always agree on things. People were split on that topic. Like some people were just glad to have a black character that looked really fucking good. Because Chantel looks fantastic, character design wise, right? But I think a lot of people did have a problem with that character too. And it's like, maybe like run that by a few, people before producing that content. But like when it becomes like um games that are somewhat like based in reality, or like you're utilizing like cultural elements for games, or like for example like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Problematic as fuck, but like it's still a game I thoroughly enjoy playing when I'm enraged and want to get some of that rage out. I play Grand Theft Auto, and there's some things in there that's a little suspect, that could be a little offensive. But, like no one really cares as it's Grand Theft Auto. But still, like there are things in that game that like there's elements that are like racialized that like maybe we shouldn't be doing and like be more attentive to. And I think like we would benefit a lot from just having someone literally proofread your work. Like there's so many things that get through the cracks, just not just in like in terms of not just in terms of what was I about to say, not just in terms of like representation, but like presentation as well. Because it's like you can have a black character, but if they just don't do anything, they have no function, and like they have no
Right.
aspects of blackness, people aren't gonna like really relate to that character, and then people aren't gonna be like, oh, I feel seen, I feel represented,
Right.
right? So I think that it would be better though if you just hire black people to do the work and
Right.
write these characters in the first place. And believe me, like there's so many black people that need funding on so many awesome projects that like range from comics, that range from TV shows, range to gaming, things like that, that like have some amazing characters that will make a bunch of money. Like this is not like you know, this isn't just like oh, we want representation, but like it's a mutually beneficial thing.
Right.
Like you will make a ton of money, like literally by diversifying your platform. Because like there's like this crazy study just about America, and I guess this could be applied to this topic in general, but like there's this crazy statistic that's like I think it was like America has missed out on like $17 billion in revenue over the past like 50 years by having racist institutional policies.
Yeah.
Like being racist is not cost efficient.
Right.
It benefits no one. Like
Yeah.
you're screwing our lives over. No one benefits from being racist except for really rich white capitalists, right? But like none of us are benefiting from this nonsense. Like it makes no sense to continue this mentality. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's mutually beneficial to diversify your platform. Period.
Yeah.
Point blank. That shouldn't be why you're doing it. You should be doing it because it's right.
Yeah. Also,
So
if you're gonna, oh, go ahead.
that's all I was gonna say.
Oh, I was gonna say. Also, if you're gonna have a black person read over your work, pay them. And we have a question from the chat. They said, "Do you watch Boondocks?"
Yes. Aaron McGruder is the writer of Boondocks. He's amazing, hilarious. Boondocks is like exactly. Boondocks is like one of those shows where it's like those are black people.
Right, right.
Like that's my show. Like it's funny. It went on for multiple seasons. People were pissed off when Adult Swim like cut it from its lineup, and then they tried to revive it, and then now I don't know like what happened to it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's like still getting new episodes or whatever. But like Boondocks is like a cultural icon of a show. Like people love that show. Black
Mm-hmm.
people love Boondocks. Like Aaron McGruder got a lot of opportunities after that to like do more comedy writing, and like his comic book for Boondocks is also really cool. So yeah, like Boondocks is that bitch. Like we stand.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Well, and the thing about like Nintendo, as much as I love Nintendo and like that's so central to like who I am, Nintendo is doing the worst out of the big three when it comes to diversity. Like point like hands down period. Like there's no way and especially like as fans, I think as anti-black fans or fans who claim to be anti-black, it is our responsibility to be having these conversations. Like why are they so
You
far
mean pro
behind?
black?
What did I say?
Anti
Oh shit.
like
Anti-racism. Sorry, pro-black. Girl, no one clipped that. Don't take that out of context. But
fans that are anti-black. I didn't mean it that way.
I'm being exposed. Um but yeah, no, like I think it is our responsibility to like especially as white people to be the people taking the brunt of that conversation. And so I'll take this time to thank you so much for coming on here to do this. Moving on,
Yes.
we have seen, which I think I'm curious to see how you feel about it. We have seen like an increase in skin customization options and like hair customization options in like Pokemon and Animal Crossing. How do you feel about seeing those kind of things? Is it like too little, too late, or is it like not enough? You know what I mean? Like,
I'm happy.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
definitely. Like, cause I just recall just like the last Pokemon game I've ever purchased, which is why please give them money so I can get a Switch because I would like to play games again.
yeah,
But the last Pokemon game I've ever played was like the reboot of Sapphire, which like Sapphire till this day, in my opinion, is still the best version of Pokemon, both the re-edition of it and like the original. And I was like, damn, like okay, like it's coming to 3DS. I sound so aged. It's coming to the 3DS. I'm so excited. Like, so I'm thinking like, oh, like they're gonna like by now, right? Like they're gonna have to have like skin customization. No, no,
mm-hmm.
same two land ass characters. And I was kind of sad because I was just like, damn, like y'all don't even really have to like have multiple different characters. Y'all could just give us the option to change the colors
Right,
so we can like fit us. And it's just like it made me mad because it's like I can change my skin color on Papa's Pizzeria. Why can't I change it on Pokemon? Like it doesn't make no sense. Like it makes no sense when I go on Cool Math Games and like play every re-edition of Papa's Pizzeria
not
and
Papa's
be able to like
Pizzeria.
change my skin color, but like a multi-billion-dollar industry, like I still can't do that.
Right.
And I'm like, baby, like what is going on? What is happening? So I was just disappointed. So I think like it's great. I'm glad they're doing it. Of course, it came too late. It's always been too late, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But it's like it's here now. Keep doing it. Keep customizing. Make it even more customizable.
Right,
Like, you know, stretch the bounds. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's exciting to see because it's like that's not something I had when I was a kid at
right,
all. Like, there was no customizing characters. There was no. There really was little to no black representation. There still isn't. You know.
right.
And it's like you get into your prime of like all of these things for most people is like when they're like middle school going into high school, right? So it's like this is important. Like this has real implications on like how people see themselves, how they feel represented. And it's like for me as someone that wasn't really into like regular pop cultures like music and blah blah blah, like at the time like my thing was like anime and games and things like that. It did feel a little isolating, but it
Yeah,
still was like, but I still love this thing, so I'm gonna keep supporting it in hopes that it loves me back. You know what I mean?
right.
And so
That's gonna
this
make me
is like,
cry.
I mean, don't cry, bitch. Stop. You're gonna make me cry. Don't do that. But yeah, like it just sucks. Like it kind of
Yeah,
sucks. It's just kind of like, damn, like it doesn't take like, why is it so difficult to do this?
yeah.
Like, why is it an afterthought? Why did it take this long? Like, do people like me not play? And it's so crazy to me because it's like my anime club at not my university, but at my high school was almost a fully black populated
Right.
club. It wasn't like this like white, like because people really think like And it does piss me off, actually, because like when people make jokes about gamers and people make jokes about like anime watchers, like whatever, they're always referencing like dusty, crusty, like white boy. And it's like I'm glad to not be included in that stereotype, but it also erases like black people that are in these spaces and always have been in these spaces and are increasingly in these spaces, and it pisses me off because then white gamers also because they don't open their horizons like anime fans and gamers don't realize that y'all got black people around too that do
Right.
these things. Right?
Yeah.
Like I remember when Fortnite became super popular, and I had to stop playing Fortnite because it was too the people on Xbox Live were just too racist. And like I remember I was like playing on a team with a past friend of mine. Like after this, like I couldn't really speak to him, but like he was like begging me, like, oh, like please be in my party for Fortnite, blah 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 blah, this and that because I used to just play individually. Like, I didn't like playing with other people because I knew people on gaming servers are racist as fuck. I don't want to. I don't want to deal with
Yeah.
that. So I don't want to hear what they have to say about me, like whatever. So I joined his party, and of course, like they didn't know I was a black person, and they're just out here dropping the N word casually.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point I was like, "Y'all know I'm black, right?" And they're like, "Oh my god, Noah, why didn't you tell us?" And I was sitting here like, first of all, my
Yeah.
friend just be sitting there with y'all saying the N word. So I had to look at my friend like,
Ugly.
ew, dusty, musty,
Swear.
rusty, like, ugh, like what the fuck? Like that was ugly as hell. Like I was confused. Like I was like, so Mr. Anti-racist, Mr. Anti-capitalist is out here saying the N-word on Xbox Live. Crazy.
Yeah.
And didn't check his friends, mind you. Just let them kept saying that, knowing that I was there, right? And like this allows for this erasure to continue to happen is by not putting us in representation. It's like it's also including to the exclusion of us in these spaces as well.
Yeah.
And then people want to get mad when like like black girl gamers want to make their own servers where it's just black girl gamers playing together because they don't want to deal with harassment by white people, and then they're like, oh my god, that's so racist, like you're involving yourself in like segregation. And it's like, no, like we're protecting ourselves from like racial abuse. Nobody wants to sit and play a game that's supposed to be fun, supposed to be a getaway from our real life problems, because that's why most people game, let's be honest,
Yeah.
right? And deal with more worldly problems in a fantasy game because y'all out here calling us the N-word for no reason.
Right.
Unprovoked. Unprovoked.
Yeah.
And it's gross. And it's always like 12-year-olds too. So like who is teaching these kids like nonsense?
Right.
It's scary. Like it's a scary world. I don't know.
Well, and like I think you bring up a good point there at the end. I mean, all of that was good points. But like at the end, you mentioned like the being a black femme, like, and how navigating that is like literally such a different experience too, because like alone racist, misogynistic, like those are like that is what the gaming community is. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like if you're not getting hit with like the racist slur, it's like, oh, why are you like faking liking this game? You know, like
Mm-hmm.
it's and that's something that I think so many of us in this community don't have to understand, like don't have to even like begin to think about unless we sit down and critically do that. And I'm trying to like the point here is that I'm asking everyone watching and everyone who does watch this to sit down and think about that and like push that thought in their head, because it's not fair. It's not fair that that black women have to face the brunt of this by themselves. Someone in the chat asked, "Is there any available info out there about if there's diversity as Nintendo as a company?" And someone dropped a link. So yeah, that'll be the information there.
Mm-hmm.
What another thing you like said that really stuck with me is like I'm just gonna really love this thing and hope it loves me back. Like that right there is like so powerful. I know, literally like a little boohoo moment, and I think that is so true for like so many marginalized communities. Like you just have to like just give it your all and hope that you might get a crumb back.
A crumb.
A
And then you got the
crumb.
marginalized communities fighting over the
The
crumb.
crumb.
That's the real tea. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's like we get a crumb and then it becomes normalized to fight over the damn crumb.
Right.
It's so dusty, and like that's really what white supremacy is. Like giving people scraps and then saying that's enough. Giving
Yeah.
people one black character and being like, oh my god, but you have so much representation. Look at the Princess Peach skin.
Yeah. Right.
That's your representation.
Yeah.
Like what? Like, and I get like people always will be like, none of this is real, it's all fiction. And it's like that's so easy to say like when you're already represented in the game. Like people complain now about like people say things like, oh, like BET, if the roles were reversed, if the roles were reversed. And it's like the roles are reversed. Like
Right.
BET is the one channel that like has mostly black people. First of all, not every freaking show that airs on television only has all black cast. Let's
Right.
get that straight. Second of all, the roles are reversed. Y'all got all the TVs. Every channel is majority white casted. All the channels are majority white casted. So like BET is not racist. BET is literally giving representation where it doesn't exist in other places. And BET is also a problematic ass company
Yeah.
anyway. You think black people are like, yes, BET. No, BET got its problems too. Like, we
Right.
can't have nothing nice. Like, that's how it feels. It's just like, but we keep, investing in things. Like you said, like I said, and we reiterated like that we hope like people invest back into us. And it's like finally, I won't even say finally I feel that investment, because I knew I had to give it some time after the protests in the summer to
Yeah.
see if people really were about they shit. And y'all motherfuckers disappointed me.
Right.
Because now people are like, keep that same energy
Yeah.
that you have with Black Lives Matter, or, but Black Lives Matter, right? Or, but y'all asking for too much. Black people always do this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. Y'all are all like, oh man, like white people dying in the streets. That's so sad. Like, blah, 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 blah. We have to, Black Lives Matter everywhere, blah, blah, blah. Like, it hasn't even been a year, bro. And people
Yeah.
are walking back.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
And the way it was co-opted as like and also weaponized as like white people in these communities, I'll say Twitch, TikTok, whatever, being like, oh, they don't have Black Lives Matter in their bio, or like, oh, this and that, like having these fights with each other, and it's like you all are playing games of semantics with people's lives, like,
Mhm.
and I don't know, I just people, and like, and the things I think like you
I
said
don't
about,
care if you have Black Lives Matter in your bio. I don't have Black Lives Matter in my bio.
yeah,
Okay? Like, what is your hashtag doing for me in real
right,
life? People are
right,
still getting gunned down right now in the streets. As of today, like since the George Floyd shooting and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery and Rashard Brooks, like the ones that are like popularly named, there's been so many. Like there was the guy that was bringing Subway home to his grandma and got shot in his back and like fell into the kitchen and like died. No one knows that man's name. Unfortunately, I don't know his name either.
yeah,
That happened like 2 months ago. Like there was a lynching that happened in I think Mississippi like recently. I think that was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was like a woman as well, a black woman that got lynched. Like there's all these things that are still going on, and but people are screaming at black people like, but Black Lives Matter, right? When we're still dealing with the nonsense. It's not
yeah,
like it stopped. The protest didn't stop it. And like now we're still seeing like what's gonna happen with the Derek Chauvin case that's happening right now with George Floyd. Like, and
yeah,
it's like those are the big systemic issues. And it's like you mean to tell me, right, that at the very least we can't change the damn skin of our characters in the game?
right, yeah,
That's where your activism begins and stops. It's
mm-hmm,
like this is the hill y'all are dying on. Is the fact that people want somebody that got a little bit of kink in their hair in a
right,
video game. Y'all
yeah.
are upset about that.
Well, and when you look at these customization things anyway, it's like you're putting a darker skin tone on Eurocentric features anyway. It's not like they're changing any of the features. Like they still like you know what I mean. And like people are like, oh, that doesn't even look good like that. It's like because there was no attention paid to it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. And the people getting so uncomfortable with that, it's just like it baffles me. And the same people who have the BLM in their bio are the ones here dropping the N word on their Discord channel or like while they're playing Call of Duty or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
It's
yeah.
performative, babes. It's very performative and disappointing. And it's just like, I don't know. I think at this point, it's just kind of like sad.
Yeah.
Like, it's sad, like being in these spaces, like as someone that like does like social activism and things like that, and someone that speaks up whenever anything's happening to anybody. Like because that's what you're supposed to do, period, point blank. It shouldn't be transactional. Like I made a post about this like, on
Yeah.
my Instagram. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this shouldn't be some like weird transactional activism. Like you should not expect anything in return just because you spoke up and did what you were
Right.
supposed to do. It's not, you don't get cookies for putting Black Lives Matter in your bio, like, or ACAB or 1312 in your bio. Like you don't. Like, because you're supposed to be speaking out against these systems in the first place. That is your duty. as a human being, that's
You're
what
right.
you're supposed to be doing, right? So it's like people want all these weird cookie points and pats on the backs and ugh, just all
And it
this
goes,
nonsense.
and it's literally like a fact that people don't mob out for black women the way black women mob out for everybody else.
Bloop.
That
Talk
is
about it.
that is just
Facts.
literally a fact. And I think that goes
That's
for
super facts.
every community in the gaming community. And like this is not like we're talking about these wider issues, but they all relate to like this community. You know what I mean? Like I don't
But I
know.
think people like this goes to the great question of like my favorite question for white people is why do y'all make everything about race? And I'm like, unfortunately, we don't want to make everything about race, but everything kind of has it because of the system that was built.
Yeah.
Like shit that you wouldn't even think of. Like for example, like houses in the South have back doors. Why do houses in the South have back doors? Houses in the South have back doors because black people weren't allowed to enter the front door. So
Yeah.
that's why you have a back door on the back of your house.
Right.
That's why back doors exist because black people are not allowed to enter the front door of
Right.
the place. Like simple things like that that you would never even think about ever pertaining to race or like shouldn't have to do with race because nothing should have to do with race because it's fake. Race is social construct, but has real life material implications, unfortunately. And like that's the society we live in. And it's like instead of asking why is everything made about race, ask how can we make this not about race?
Yeah.
What can we be doing in order to dismantle these structures in the first place? What little things can we be doing? A little thing that you can be doing is creating new characters that look
Right.
like us. Like that's such a simple ask. No one's even asking you to like dismantle. Like I would be like dismantle the U.S. That's like my big ask,
Right.
right? But right now I'm just saying, can we maybe make another like Nintendo princess and like give her a fro?
Swear
And
to
people are
God.
like, no, no, no.
Right.
Like, how are we supposed to get anywhere if y'all, like, how are we supposed to get anywhere if people aren't even allowed to ask for a character? That's not real.
Well, and the same
Like,
thing
does
with
that not sound crazy to y'all? Like, don't you sound insane? Like, I feel like people need to really analyze, like, why am I so upset that this character's black?
yeah.
Why are you mad? What are you upset
And
about?
it's the same people who are like, why does everything have to be about race? The ones who won't even let black people enjoy when they get a black character. You know, like they can't even celebrate it because their Twitter mentions are full of them getting called the N word. You know what I mean? Like, but yet black people are the ones making it about race. I bet. I fucking bet.
And for example, like, I mean, it's like another thing. It's like I don't think white people even realize it, but it's like even black people. I guess like I'll give an example of like cosplaying, right? Like black people are limited to so many things, like these options that we're given to and like have to crumb over. Like we're limited. Like when a black person like will cosplay, I don't fucking know who's popular. Aaron Yeager from is he even alive from Attack on Titan? I don't know. But from Attack on Titan,
Yeah.
say a black woman gender bends and cosplays as Aaron, right? And someone will be in their comments on TikTok, on Twitter, or whatever, be like, "Oh my God, you would look so good as Garnet.
Yeah.
You look so good as that one black character that I know."
Right.
And like, a lot of black cosplayers may not, outwardly tell you this because like black cosplayers get so much shit from the community, but it's like this is what we're talking about. Like you wouldn't be saying that, but you say that because that's the only black character you can think about.
Right.
But white people get to be like, oh, people tell them it's the Japanese characters that they look good as. Like, oh, you would look good as Haruhi Suzumiya, who's not even white.
Right.
Something's not clicking for me. And it's because there's no black people in these spaces. And it will like we're there, but like nobody's hiring us.
Yeah.
And no one's like giving us the money to tell the stories. It's just really frustrating.
Someone in the chat said, I'm brown, so when I say I want to cosplay, I'm not sure who as. People just say Aladdin straight away, and I just look at them confused.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
See? Thank you! Real life! This is real life, bro!
Right.
Like, this is dead ass. Like, people of color dead ass. Continuously. Because there's no representation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy, even say we even start talking about brown people. First of all, I don't even know what Aladdin's ethnicity is supposed to be. But like every single time, like, there's a brown person, so like say from the Middle East or South Asia, people are like, oh yeah, you really look good as Aladdin or Jasmine. Because that's the only brown character they know.
Literally.
Because that's one of the very few brown characters that exist. That's a problem. And like no one's like talking about that. And people don't realize like how reductive and like how much of a microaggression that is. Like
Yeah.
that's just not,
Call
like
it what
no
it
one
is.
wants to hear that.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear that. That
Yeah.
doesn't make me feel good at all.
And it also kind of
At
goes with
all.
it kind of goes without saying that like also black femmes face fat phobia from the cosplay community way harsher than any other demographic as well.
Oh,
Um,
child. There's so many characters. Like that's a reason I won't cosplay now.
yeah.
My weight. Because I just don't. I just don't
Well, it's
wanna.
exhausting. I can
Yeah.
imagine.
Because it's like I'm not skinty, so I'm not about to deal with this. I'm
And
not
that's
dealing
a
with y'all's nonsense.
well, when you have like characters, it's like so. How many fat black women in video games do we have? You know what I mean?
Do they? I think there are there any. I feel like I've seen a fat black character, and they were like a villain.
Of course.
Like there's definitely fat black characters or fat characters that are type coded, like that are coded as black.
Yeah.
Like Ursula
Right.
from The Little Mermaid is like coded as black, and she's a villain, and she's fat and angry, so like very stereotypical.
Right.
Um, that's let me Google.
Someone just said season 4 of Attack on Titan just added a black character like 10 episodes from the end of the series.
Crying. We love representation. Woo!
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, so Aladdin is also incredibly whitewashed. Someone also said in the chat.
That is true. A
Yeah.
lot of people have issues with Aladdin as a character in general.
Right.
So it's just like, what is the tea? Can y'all
Right.
hear me good? Do y'all hear the white supremacy?
Right. And
Like, okay, wait, I'm about to Google fat
yeah.
black female video game character.
No results found.
5 awesome. No. Yeah, none. uh, no, they're all skinty. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like just the fat phobia in games in general. Like, all the
Right.
fat characters are always villains. Like Eggman from Sonic. I mean, that's like the one person I can think of is like Eggman from Sonic.
Yeah.
It's like the one fat character, and he's a fat white guy with a weird beard. And I mean, I like Eggman, I think he's a fun villain. But like, that's a problem though. It's like, fatness is villainized. Fatness is seen as undesirable. That's
Mhm.
another problem. Like, and I think like being a fat person, which is really okay. Let's actually talk about this because it's really strange. Because it's not like there's not fat people in our community, like in
Right.
the gaming community, in the anime, like the cosplay community, anime community. But it's just like fatness is so ostracized and for what? And like on women or like femmes mostly. Because I feel like it's acceptable for like white men to be fat in the gaming community or in the cosplay community or anime community
Yeah.
or whatever, which is a good thing. It should be acceptable because there's nothing wrong with being a fat person.
Period. Speak on
But
it.
it's just like, the intersections, man, the intersections, like, and yeah, like I am like as someone that's like, like I've lost a lot of weight, but like I would say like in high school, like I felt so comfortable like cosplaying, because I was skinny in high school.
Mhm.
Like, even in high school, I thought I was overweight. I wasn't, but like I
Right.
thought I did. I was. But now it's like, oh, what if people are looking at my arms and blah blah blah, and like you already have to deal with like, oh, like people are gonna say I don't look like this character because this character is not a Negro. But also
Right.
on top of that, like they're gonna be like, oh, but they also don't look like this isn't canon and blah blah. And it's like, who cares if it's canon? Cosplay is just supposed to be fun.
Literally.
It's just supposed to be a fun thing. Gaming, like that's the problem I have with all this is like all these things are just supposed to be fun, and to make it more fun and accessible, all we have to do is become more inclusive. That's it. It's so simple. And like the fact that there's even pushback to begin with is the
Yeah.
real problem. If the problem isn't that we're trying to diversify this space, the problem is the pushback and the anti-blackness that exists. And people don't focus on that. It's like, let's focus on eradicating the fat phobia, the the homophobia, the transphobia, like all of that. Like, focus on that. Y'all give so much energy to fight about if or something is or isn't transphobic, or if it is or isn't this, is or isn't that, blah 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 blah. And it's like, shit. Even if you want to keep those dusty ass arcs and characters, whatever, fine. Can we add some new? Can we add some
Swear.
swords?
Right.
Can we add some swords?
Yeah.
Damn. Like damn. Like people aren't even asking for main characters. We're asking for extras. Like
Literally.
I'm too scared to ask for a main character at this point. People are asking for extras. People aren't
Right.
even saying we want a black game. People are like characters. Imagine a game. Like we can't even get past character
Yeah.
arcs. Sickening.
Let me. There's something in the chat that says I'm not very into games, but Disney is also problematic with black people because they're never humans the entire time. No, that. Yeah.
Baby, can we talk about it? I know this like discussion isn't really about that, but like, can we please
Yeah.
touch on this?
Absolutely.
Yo, Princess Tiana is a black woman for 17 minutes of that film.
Right.
In Soul, the man, first of all, that was a Get Out situation. A white woman took over that black man's body for a majority of the movie.
Right.
That's creepy. Like, black people are never even black people in the movies. What other movies have black people in them in Disney? I think those are the only two.
Right.
Wait, hold on.
Well, and it is an issue in
Let me
game.
Google.
It is an issue in games too, because if you look at Overwatch, which like is like this beacon of diversity and has all these diverse characters, there's not a single black woman on the cast, and it's like, how are you going to sit here and be like, oh, we're this diverse game and there's no black women, and then there's one character voiced by a black woman and she's a robot. It's like, girl, like I think Orisa is the only character voiced by a black woman and she's not even a person. Like, that's an issue.
Yeah.
OMG, the backlash over Disney wanting to change Splash Mountain to feature Princess in the Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was a whole thing. They're like, no, we need to keep our racist ride. We can't make it something diverse with a one black character. I mean, I'm glad that, okay, what I'm hoping is that, Disney rights their wrong with this new Tiana series that they're coming out with on Disney Plus in the next few years, and like, it's actually Tiana and not her as a frog. But it's like, Tiana's the only black character like in a major Disney production that's like centered on a black woman, and she's a fucking frog.
Right.
And then the only movie to censor, and these are like cartoon movies I'm talking about, the only cartoon movie that censors a black man, he's literally like taken over by Tina Fey.
Right.
Like, it's literally Get Out.
Literally Get Out.
I mean, I'll say this, like, Soul is a great movie, like, it's a great concept, but it's like, this is what happens when the writers are white and like don't run this by black people. And it's like, y'all let black people do the character designs, clearly, because the characters look great in Soul. That's the shit I was talking about. And it's like, couldn't we just have those characters for the whole movie?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of making them into like, objects that aren't human?
Right.
Like, what is up with that? Like, these anthropological, like, beings instead of black people. I'm like, we can't, black people are literally not allowed to get a full, like, screen time. Like, the only show right now, right, that I love, and I'm like, oh, this is black representation done right, like, as a cartoon. Craig of the Creek is so good.
Period, bitch.
I love that show.
Period.
It's hilarious. Like, when I was in the hospital last month, that's all I watched.
Yeah.
Like, was reruns of, like, Craig of the Creek. Like, that show, like, his parents are together, which you never see in shows. His parents are hilarious. They're both HBCU grads. Like, his brothers are funny. The little girl, like, his little sister is hilarious. And, like, it reminded me of my childhood, because I grew up in a suburb with white people or whatever, and we were all cool in it, and we were all friends, and we would go in the woods and just do stupid shit.
Right.
It just felt like relatable to me. I was like, dang, like I actually feel seen for once. Like
Mm-hmm.
this black suburban kid just going out in the wild. And like the
Yeah.
cast is like very diverse. It's not just white characters, like characters from all over the place in that show. And it's relatable and it makes sense, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least in my childhood, I'm shocked there's like no iPads or nothing. I think the show's trying to get little kids to go outside.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that's the aim of the show
Yeah.
because
Baby, go outside.
y'all are growing up in a weird time. But yeah, like I was like, dang, like I kind of wish I had this as a kid. Like we have the Proud Family, which like now I'm realizing has like really problematic colorist tropes. But I mean, for
Yeah.
what it was at the time, it was great because there was nothing else.
Right.
All we had was the Proud Family.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm glad that like shows like Cartoon Network's doing the damn thing.
Yeah, they really
Like
are.
they're like, look, we are anti-racist and we gonna say it in our little promotional material to the children and
Swear to
parents hate
God.
it. They hate it. They hate it. And I'm like, good. Your
Yeah.
kid's learning how to be anti-racist and that's good. And people are like, this is indoctrination. And I'm like, your kids have been indoctrinated to be white supremacists by living up in society, and the one thing that challenges it, you're pissed off. That means it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Her.
If
So
the
if I ever
only
have children, they're
anti-racist,
watching Cartoon Network.
well, if the only anti-racist education your kid is getting is from Cartoon Network, you're the problem. Like, you are the problem. I also think
You're right. That's so sad.
I also think that like indie studios are where we are going to see this shift in terms of representation. I think I'm not holding my breath for Nintendo or Sony to do. I mean, like Miles Morales is great. They're doing some good things, but like the I think like the deep rooted change we're gonna see is with indie studios. I think of like Calico, which is like a game with cats. I've never played it, but like your character can be fat and your character can be black, and like that same company like put out another game soon that's like featuring black characters. Like I think that is where we will see the biggest shift, and then hopefully eventually it'll make its way up. Like because
I mean, you're pointing to these studios,
yeah,
like that are doing this work and like all these like indie projects that are happening. Because like that's kind of what I started doing. Is like when I have a little bit of money, like I'll run to someone's Patreon or GoFundMe that's like working on projects that would tell these stories, right? And I give them money. Like the little $5 I have, you can have it. Like, because I want to see it. Like I want to see it.
yeah,
I would like to see me. I would like to see I want to see my friends. You know what I'm saying?
swear,
Like I want to see my friends. Like we're all not the same. You know what I mean? So it's just like that's why I love Craig of the Creek, because it's like that's a very specific black kid. Like
yeah,
that's a very specific environment. Not all black people grow up in suburban environments and go outside and like do all that shit. Like that's not every black kid. But it was like, dang, like this was the first time I actually saw myself in a show.
right,
And it felt good. I was just like, okay, her.
yeah.
And here we are.
And like, have you had that moment with a video game? Like,
no,
right,
never. The only time maybe where I was like, I didn't see myself, but I was just happy to see a black woman is in this anime called Carol and Tuesday.
yes,
I love it.
bitch, I love Carol and Tuesday.
And they got a black baby in the show.
Right.
She has locks like me.
Yeah,
She's really pretty. Her like story arc's a little like has some stereotypical elements
Right.
in it, but like whatever. Like I was just glad to see her. I was just like, oh, okay. You know how like that meme that's like they're just excited to be there?
Yeah.
That was me. Like I was like, oh my god, like yes, like I'm living, and I was like, and it was just great character design. So it's like an issue a lot of like Japanese animation studios have had is like how they draw black characters have sometimes been minstrelish, like minstrel vibes,
mm.
and like the really over exaggerated features. And it's like you can give a black character big lips when we got some big ass lips, but don't be like making half of their face the lips.
Right.
That doesn't make sense, So I'm glad, like I said, like the character designs for these characters are getting so much better, and it's like making me really, really, really excited. So yeah, Carol and Tuesday, Cannon Busters is a black written anime, and it's like it has black characters in it, and the character designs are great. That's on Netflix. Stream it, support black art. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, like I'm just happy to be here. Like that's really how I'm
Yeah.
feeling about that. But like in a video game, the only time I've ever felt represented was in Sims, and that's because I could customize myself.
Right, right.
Like Sims is the only character. I mean, like, well, yeah, Sims is the only video game with character designs that have been consistently customizable since its inception,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like a computer game.
Yeah.
Um,
S-
I would say Smite has
Let me look that
black
up.
characters in it. Smite is like I think people that produce Smite like have what should we call it? They're I think it was produced in Georgia.
Oh, work.
And I used to play Smite a bunch when I was younger. And there's this like one Egyptian character I would play all the time, and I think she was black.
Well, I'm thinking a little bit about like other people than Nintendo. Like Mortal Kombat has like a black woman, Jade, but also like she just is like obviously succumbs to an incredible amount of violence like the entire time, you know. And it's like, I mean, that's good to have representation, but is it like, do we need like more black women getting, you know what I mean, like is that the representation? I mean, also Resident Evil 5, like the main character is a black woman, well, like the side main character is a black woman, and she's not on the box. Like the box is fully a white woman, and the white woman's in the game for like about 5 minutes at the end. Yeah. And but
Nah,
right, isn't that so fucked up? They said, you know what, let me sell this white woman to y'all, and then like,
nah.
yeah, and she's like not even on the box.
This is what I.
Yeah.
Who is making these decisions?
Right.
And y'all want to be like anti-blackness is not a real thing. Get out of my face. It
Yeah.
so is. It's so real. Like it's dead ass so real. That's what I'm talking about. Like
Yeah.
I ghetto.
And also, speaking of throwing money to small creators, I'll remind y'all again, we're trying to raise money for Tayla to get a Switch. You can Venmo me at Quincy-Nolan, and we will get this bitch a Switch. So that next time we come out on here, we could be playing Smash Bros. Or something. It does look like my nephew has entered the chat. Ignore that. He'll just send a bunch of letters. But it's good for him to hear this.
Oh, is he Hannah?
That's my sister's name. He's on her account, and he's
Yay! That's so cute. I love
yeah,
that.
he stays doing that. Um,
I'm gonna drink some water so you
yeah,
can
there you
talk.
go. We'll take a quick sec to rehydrate.
My mouth getting dry, y'all.
Yeah, been shooting this shit too long. Is this
Oh,
an
let me check my blood sugar too. Ooh, girl, let me see if I need a snack. Diabetes is
okay,
entering the
taking care
chat,
of
girl.
yourself.
I know. We're at 106.
Is that good or bad?
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. Because I was like, I haven't eaten nothing today, so
Oh, bitch.
might be good to check. Look, like, I didn't wake up early enough to make breakfast.
Aw.
So I'm gonna go grab, like, a salad or something in the next hour.
There you go.
Probably.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
That's what's fun about this
But,
this platform. Like it's like more of just like chatting. It doesn't feel as like we're making like a podcast or something where like every second has to be like perfect.
mm-hmm.
And that's why I kind of like using. I'm really enjoying it here. Like it's a little less like.
I
This is
love it here.
yeah, I love it here. Is there anything else you want to touch on? We can probably wrap up before too long, but
Um, mm, I would like to see an animated movie in like a Studio Ghibli style with a black woman lead.
yeah, fuck.
I would like give my life for that actually. Like if I have to die for that to happen, I'll die right now. Like I'm a huge Studio Ghibli fan. Like anyone that knows me like knows
Yeah,
this. And it's just like I mean the shirt, like hello,
right.
Totoro poster. I have way more posters on this side of my wall. But it's just like dang, like I would literally like murder for that to happen. Like
Are there any
because
black Studio
if that
Ghibli
to happen-
characters?
No.
Yeah.
But like I don't expect that to happen. I think like Hayao Miyazaki is just like Hayao Miyazaki is very, as he should be, like focused on his people's stories and like doing that.
Yeah.
Um, but there are white ones, like Arietti is a white woman. the Howl's Moving Castle characters are white
Isn't
because they're based
Ponyo
off of.
white?
No, I don't think so. Was I know like for Howl's Moving Castle and um for Howl's Moving Castle and for Secret World of Arietti, they're based off of different source material.
Mm.
But the other like all his original stuff, they're Japanese.
Oh, okay.
So, but like I would be excited for that. Like if someone like has like I mean like in a sense of like even if it's not Studio Ghibli doesn't have to do it, but like a studio to like make a really great like woman empowered story around a black lead.
Right.
I'll write it like hire me.
Sort of
I don't know
guy.
nothing about I mean I can draw stick figures. I can write a mean story though, so I'll write it. Like,
Yeah.
I would live for that. Like, I would probably like. That's probably the one representation I would want so bad. Like, I
Right.
want to see that before I go, and I don't know how long that would take to happen, but like, that's what I want. It's like a full-length feature of like a black girl animated in like a Japanese animation style, going on like a fictional adventure somewhere.
I can't believe that still feels so far off.
I don't know when that would happen. I don't
Right.
think that'll happen in my lifetime.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Brennan really wants us to acknowledge that he likes the movie Soul. We got you, buddy. We see that you like Soul. I love Soul. Yes, buddy. We see that. That's awesome. It's a good movie. Kennedy just said when I look up Black Studio Ghibli characters, I get No Face and the suit sprites. Literally. Well, when you Google Well, when you Google up Black Nintendo characters, you get like Black Yoshi. Like that's what comes up.
That's racist.
Right.
Not No Face, because no, I'm mad because that was my first cosplay, so that feels very wrong, and I'm hurt that that's the first thing to come up.
Bitch,
Yeah,
what do you mean no representation? You have no face.
Like, what? I had no idea that No Face was like coded as a black man. Great. Love that. But no, I'm getting the Soot Sprites tattooed on me. That's gonna be my first tattoo.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so I guess, I have my black homies with me always. Didn't know they were black.
Represent.
Like, I think that is hilarious.
Well, it's
also sad, but like really funny.
It's what's shitty too is because like I have like my Nintendo sleeve, and I'm like, there are no black women on this. And so then I had to like, I got Urbosa, but she's not black. Then I got Marceline, and like Marceline's black, but like she's gray. You know what I mean? It's like there's all these.
Wait,
like,
is Marceline top coated black?
No, Marceline is black. Her mom's black, and her dad's a demon, and she's also voiced by a black woman. Well, half black woman. Yeah. That's like.
Okay, Adventure Time.
Right, she's legitimately black, but I mean she's gray, so it's like, could we not just have a black person? You know?
This is what I'm talking about. How am I supposed to know that unless I like watch a special episode?
Yeah, but then on the
about, like more people will watch your shows if like they see themselves off the bat. Like no one's gonna like I don't look at Marceline and think of a black person.
Right.
Like when I listen to her, she's voiced by the same person that voice acts the girl from Phineas and Ferb, right?
Yeah, Candace.
Oh no, like
no.
Friend.
What is her Victoria or something, right?
Victoria, yeah. The one that Ferb ends up with.
Yeah, which is wild.
That was so strange. Yeah, so oh my god, like, okay.
Yeah.
Hey Marceline, sis. No, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's also weird because like a lot of those shows. Well, I see a lot of these shows like start putting black characters in the background, like Bob's Burgers and like Adventure Time when they visit like the human island, there are black people and stuff. But it's like, it's something hard to make up for it. I think. Like I think it's hard for someone like you have to get ahead of this. You can't like all of a sudden let's incorporate diversity. You know what I mean? Like that should be before you even start. That should be the thought. So I think it's a lot harder to catch up than if you just started with it. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it depends on who you're hiring as writers. Like if you're hiring white people that have never been around people of color, they're not going to write about people of color. They shouldn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like that's what I'm talking about. Like I don't like representation for the sake of representation. I hate that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna do it correct.
Mm-hmm.
Come correct, right? Because we don't need like if we're gonna have one black character, let's not let it be lukewarm and dusty.
Right.
So yeah, like I don't like when they just throw black people in the background just cause, and it's like that's where we always are is the background.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be main characters, not sidekicks. like that's the thing. It's like, I feel like cartoons are gonna start taking on this like black woman sidekick character trope that like regular, I guess, people television, I don't know,
Right.
live action TV does. And it's gross. Like, we're not always like, I want to be a main character. Like, I'm the main
Yeah.
character in my life, and I want to see another black woman be the main character. Like, I'm tired of this sidekick shit, and it's annoying. Like, I don't like it.
And I
So
mean
stop
that
doing
it's not
it.
too much to fucking ask for. And like
Literally.
we haven't even brushed the topic of colorism in these spaces. Like when there's a black woman, she's like light
Cute
skinned.
child. Make people mad with that one. But yes, it's
Can y'all
true.
hear me good?
Can y'all hear me good? Can y'all? Yes.
Because if you look up like black video game characters, almost every single one of them is light skinned.
Well, rip, rip to us, I guess.
Girl, what is going on? Like what the fuck?
Anti-blackness.
Yeah,
Anti-blackness is a global phenomenon that everyone loves to love and pretend to call out.
literally.
And it's like, there's only so like saying that you're anti-racist doesn't make you anti-racist. Just by saying something like I'm blue, but am I blue?
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's something you work towards. If I want to become a blue bitch, I just start injecting dye into my skin, and it takes time to do it. Like I remember I saw this TikTok yesterday that was like, anti-racism is a process. It's a lived process. And it's
Yeah.
nothing to be ashamed of, to be honest, learning to be anti-racist, because it's a process. It is a lifelong thing. I am lifelong learning how to be anti-racist because there's a lot of internalized anti-blackness that I have to unpack from my childhood because of shit like this.
Yeah.
Y'all make like these things help you to be anti-black. Like I really did. Like when I was young, like I thought something was wrong with me because I couldn't. We were nowhere.
Right.
Like I was just like, well, this is awkward. Like okay, I'll give you like a very, I guess, a personal example, but like like there's like people will give like whatchamacallit, prompts to black people sometimes, like when they interview them, and they say like they're like, oh, like when did you realize you were black or
Oh.
whatever. So like my realization I was black was when I was like 5 or 4 years old, and it was this Asian girl that was my neighbor growing up, and we were like the two people of color that lived in my entire neighborhood in the suburb that I was talking about earlier. And it was her birthday, and so for her birthday I bought her a black Barbie doll, which is probably the like rare representation we had. Like even with black Barbie dolls, it'd be like one in the stack, and
Yeah.
like black moms really fight over them, like dead ass. Like there are like recorded brawls of black moms fighting over the one black
Jesus.
Barbies that exist. And Cabbage Patch Kids. There's a funny story about my grandma fighting somebody for a Cabbage Patch Kid. We can tell that another time.
Iconic.
Yeah, icon. But literally, like, I bought her a black Barbie doll for her birthday, and she, how kids like they unwrap the gifts in front of everybody or whatever. So sis was opening her gifts, and she opened her doll, and she's like, "Oh, thank you, Tayla, blah blah blah." And I was like, "You're welcome." And then the white girl was like, she didn't want the black one.
Oh my god.
And I was like, but why? Like, why wouldn't you want the black one? And then my mom, how my mom retells the story, because she remembers it better than I did, because I was
Yeah.
like 4 or 5. She was like, she started to snap on the girl and be like, why can't she be black? And then
Right.
it's like, okay, let's all eat cake. We love cake. Like
That's
completely
crazy.
deflecting from the situation instead of like correcting it. Like, there's like, why does your child that's 5 years old think that the kid doesn't want the black doll?
Right.
So clearly your parents are racist pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Because how do they even know to say that, right? And it's like, this is 4 and 5 year olds.
Uh-huh.
And like people love, like white people love to share those videos of like black boys and like white boys like being best friends or
Right.
whatever on Facebook. Like I see
Ugh.
these videos all the time. And it's like, they're like, oh, kids don't know race. And I'm like, you're right, they don't. Until y'all teach them how to be anti-black.
Right.
And then y'all the same people that are like, oh, like, I don't see color. You know what I mean? And it's
Well-
weird. It's getting weird.
And then getting weird. It's just it's been done,
It's
been
been
weird.
weird.
But that's the thing too, 'cause it's like people love to say like, oh, these kids are too young to worry about that stuff or learn about that stuff. Girl, you didn't have a choice. Like, you did not have a choice to have to learn about anti-blackness. Like, that is what you, like, you did not have a choice, but then all of a sudden these white kids, like, shouldn't have to be burdened with it at a young age? Come
And then
on.
all these white people have these racist faces. It's weird.
Uh,
I'm like, I didn't have a racist face. I definitely had a homophobic face.
yeah.
That's something I absolutely had. Like, until I realized, you know.
Right.
But
And,
I
like,
think like I had a lot of internalized homophobia like up until like high school.
yeah.
That's something that happened, but it's like, you know, a lot of, I think like that's what happens like when you're part of the prominent group of a marginalized like of a group that's juxtaposed to a marginalized group, you have like that weird phase, or
Yeah.
like you have like these ideas about specific people because you're conditioned to have the ideas. And that's why I'm like, with white people, right, to an extent, because of the white people I grew up around, I have a level of sympathy that other people aren't going to have because they didn't grow up around racist white people.
Yeah.
Because it's like, in my school curriculum, it's like, we were taught some racist ass shit. Like the whole
Right.
Civil War, oh, some slave masters were really nice to their slaves. And it was for the economy and blah, 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 and this and that. And I'm like, something don't sound right. Like, thank God, like, my mom, like, would take me to the museum and, like, really
Yeah.
teach me, like, what actually happened. But it's like, for some people, that's all they hear, and that's what their parents learned and everything. And it's like, it doesn't excuse it, especially in this era where, like, we have, like, we're literally on the internet right now, being able to talk to you, and you're, like, nowhere near me, right? Like,
Right.
technology is a thing. Knowledge is the most accessible that it's been ever. And if so many Black people have taken the time to share their experiences online, share their experience in academic journals, make more accessible like experiences. Like if you can't read academic language, if you're not a auditory learner, you can learn visually. Like, all these resources exist now.
Right.
So it's like, it's at this point where it's like, you need to take the time to learn these things, and you have the privilege to not do it because the world's catered to you.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, my ass has to do it. But like when it came to like, you know, dismantling my transphobia, I had to like, you know, go out of my way, as you should. It's not that deep. Like, it doesn't even,
Right.
I'm not even use the language of going out of my way, because I'm not going out of my
Yeah.
way. It took 2 seconds to Google things,
Right.
to read different things, to watch Cat Black on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's so many people that provide these resources without me even having to ask questions to my friends.
Yeah. Well,
You know
and
what I'm
that's
saying?
and,
And not
like,
burdening other people with that, you know? Like, come on.
and the white people that are like so desperate for your acceptance would be like, oh, when I was in high school, I just said the N word while playing COD on Xbox One. Girl, keep that shit to yourself.
Yeah, I don't.
Like, deal with that shit with yourself. Like,
Weird.
stop going to marginalized people and be like, I used to hate you, but I'm better now. Like,
My
homegirl.
parents hate Black people.
Yeah, right.
I checked my racist uncle at Thanksgiving.
Like, okay, keep it to yourself. What do you want from me? Like, or from you? Yeah, yeah,
Literally, no, it's weird. Like, why are you telling me this?
yeah.
Just like, thank you, my white knight, for defending me at Thanksgiving.
Not your white
Like,
knight.
what? Like, that's weird. Like, it's strange. Like, I don't know. Like, let's have the roles reversed. Like, oh my God, like, I told my mom to stop saying that white people smell like quarters at Thanksgiving. Like, you would look at me crazy.
Oh my
You
god.
would look at me crazy if I said that to you.
Yeah. That
And
is
like,
so
my mom
funny.
doesn't say that, but I'm just saying, like, that's like, you know, like, if Black people were to say something mean
Yeah.
about white people, is that they smell like quarters. Like,
Right.
I don't know. But that's the thing. Like, even when I think about like what mean things do Black people say about white people, they're all funny. They're not like really. They're not based in anything.
Right.
It's just stupid shit we come up with.
Wait, I've never heard that quarters one. That's new to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's a
love
thing.
that. That is so funny.
Horrible.
Wait, where does that come from? Do
I
we
think
really
it's,
smell
with
like quarters?
White people. Yes. Some people. And like, that's not me trying to be mean. I promise. I'm just being honest. Like,
I love that.
quarters. But like, not. It's like, I think it's like because y'all have to wash your hair so often.
Uh-huh.
I think if a white person like doesn't wash their hair, it kind of smells like quarters.
Yeah, no, I get that.
But like that could be it. Like for us, we don't really have to be washing our hair like that. I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah,
washed
yeah.
my hair in like 3 weeks,
That
and
is
it
so
smells
funny.
fine. But yeah, maybe that's where it comes from, or like when white people like in the rain, and maybe that's why. But like I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's a thing. Like it definitely is a true thing.
That is
Like
so
I've
funny.
smelled it before, but I would never go around telling people, "Oh, you smell like queer as fuck."
Bitch,
I
you
just
still
feel like that's
should.
like there's just shit
Wash
people
your
don't
ass.
say. Like there's just shit people don't say to people. Like you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
and it's like I just think like really violent, anti-black shit that people be having on their mind. It's like if you're thinking it, keep it to yourself, and then take your own time to like maybe you know confide in a therapist
Right.
or confide in someone that's a professional and like dealing with racism because racism's an illness in
Mm-hmm.
my opinion.
Literally.
Y'all need to learn like that's a whole thing like literally like it's a plague in my opinion. So like there's people you can talk about this with like it is something to be ashamed of but all of us have things that we're ashamed of, you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
and like things that you're ashamed of, you talk to your therapist about it, or
Right.
you talk to someone really close to you that you can confide in like a judgment-free space,
Right.
and have that person help you work through that. Because it's not Black people's job to not judge you, because we gonna judge you, baby.
Yeah.
And we have every right to.
Well, and if you have black friends, it's usually not an issue. You know what I mean? It's so weird that like it baffles my mind that there are people who like just don't have any black friends that you couldn't go talk to
Literally
about
all my
this.
followers on TikTok. Because they ask me the most out-of-pocket shit, and I know they're coming from a good place.
Right.
But like I get so offended because I'm like, are you dead ass? Like you couldn't ask your friend this? Like
Right.
it's like I have like you've asked me things and I'm like, oh yeah, like and I'll answer it because it's
Yeah.
not that deep. I'm saying, but I care about you. That's different.
Right.
It's a whole nother. That's like a different thing. Like we have a different relationship, but y'all can't just be going around. That's why Black people get upset. Like white people will get upset when they go in the clubhouse rooms and they're on Twitter, when they're on TikTok, and they just ask the most out of pocket shit. And we get it. You come from a good place and blah 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 blah. But like, baby, like we don't know you. We have no vested interest in changing you. And then people do this thing where they're like, "You're supposed to educate me."
Right.
Like,
bitch, no the fuck I'm not.
I'm like, excuse you.
Put me on payroll.
Really, invest in the Twitch. What is it?
Switch fund. The Switch fund for Tayla. Venmo at Quincy-Nolan. Pay her for this education.
Yeah, like literally, like I don't know.
It's crazy.
It is wild. It's very strange. Like it's getting weird.
Things are getting weird. Well, it's like another thing. We're sitting here fighting, like begging for like a black lead. So when are we gonna get a black fat queer lead? You know, like it's like damn, we're doing all this, and they'll be like, oh, here's like a light skinned thin.
I mean, they exist. We just have to give people the money to.
That's the thing.
Do large scale. But my thing is like, do we even want like honestly? And maybe this is my controversial opinion.
Oh, I'm excited.
But it's like, do I even want to share that with anyone?
Yeah.
Like, do I want to like put a black queer femme who's also fat like in that position to be ostracized?
Yeah.
But also those leads do exist, like Queen Latifah.
Yeah. I was talking about like video games, but yeah.
But it's just also just that like they don't explore her queerness at all.
Right.
Like in these films, but like still, it's just like I don't want to put them in that position to be in communities where they're going to be ostracized. Like Rebel Wilson gets so much shit already, and it's like, but Queen Latifah doesn't get that shit because she's in the black community, and most of us don't give a fuck about size. Like. Right. Our conception of like I feel like if anyone in the black community gets anything, it's skinny people, honestly, no cap. Like people will be like, oh, you ain't eat nothing, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And like I mean my grandma will like comment on my weight or whatever, but like it's not to a point where I feel like ostracized, I guess. So I'm not saying that like black people don't ostracize weight, but I feel like this perception of like what a good body looks like is not the same thing as like what white people like Eurocentric standards is. Like but now, as more and more, you know, I'm not even gonna say that. It's a little too spicy for the for this. I don't want to be on record saying that. But I was gonna say though, like I just think that, you know, I think white beauty standards for whatever reason is becoming more and more accepted amongst young people in the black community, and I think it's because of the internet. And like I'm just tired of seeing these black kids on TikTok crying about their features, like.
Yeah.
It's sad. Like I don't think I've ever like my family's never ever made me feel bad about how I look. In terms of like my black features, like naturally black
Yeah.
features. So like no one's ever been like your fucking lips, your nose, and da da da. But I see
Right.
people on TikTok like crying about their nose and stuff. And
Oh.
I don't doubt that their parents. I think their parents like tell them they're beautiful and stuff. But like if the world's screaming at you and being like, you know, you don't
Mm-hmm.
look good, and like the internet's violent. Like to be
Literally.
honest, like it's kind of crazy. Like I know I'm only 23, but like the internet was not like it was now.
Oh yeah.
Like how I consume the internet, like I go outside. I went outside. I went to the movies with my friends. I did things and I was not
Mm-hmm.
on my phone. Now I'm
Mm-hmm.
always on my fucking phone.
Yeah.
But like even when I was in high school, like we weren't always on our phones.
Uh huh.
Like Instagram, like you could post whatever. Like when people say stupid shit, like bring the real Instagram back, they mean like bring like taking ugly pictures of yourself and just
Right.
posting them. That's the era of Instagram I was in,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So I'm in that weird like in between Gen Z millennial thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a millennial. That's what I call it.
Is that what we are?
Millennials, yeah. Because we're technically Gen Z, but like, I don't know them.
Yeah.
Like, but I also am not a millennial either.
Right. It's
So
crazy.
we
Well, I
don't
mean, we
like,
grew up in the early 2000s, which I think is like different. Maybe I don't know.
it's just a different vibe. Because it's like we can stake claims to some 90s things, but not all of them.
Right.
So
And
it's
not
like,
to. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Well, not to veer completely off, but like, so I did see something where someone was talking about how like the generational gaps have narrowed, whereas like where it used to be maybe like 10, 20 years between generations, now it's like there's like 3 or 4, just because of the way like technology is evolving.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have a smartphone when I was 10. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have a smartphone until I was like 18, 17.
I got my first iPhone my senior year of high school.
Yeah.
Like I was so excited. I remember this is what I said when I opened I opened the box and I was like, I'm not gonna mess up the group chat anymore.
Right.
Because people used to drag, they're like, oh my god, like, well, people still do it. Like, you have green messages, ooh, like,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, but that was my biggest anxiety
Mm-hmm.
around internet. Like, like, I think maybe the most, like, mentally draining thing on the internet at the time was probably, like, Yik Yak.
Oh, yeah.
The Yik Yak era was short-lived, but very damaging.
Damn. And you were there for early Tumblr, too. Like, you were there for.
Yeah, but, like, I was on, like, anime Tumblr, like, it was a different thing. Like
Yeah.
I feel like literally like this was me like beefing with like Zutara fans on Tumblr. Like that's literally what I spent most of my time doing. And I had like a Haruhi Suzumiya blog and like a
Period,
role-playing
bitch.
blog like for
Bring it
anime
back.
actually.
Bring that
Like
back.
bring back that era.
Right.
Like what a time. I still have my Tumblr. I just don't use it. It's still up
Right.
though. So if you want to check it out, Haruhi Daily on Tumblr.
Fuck
Yeah.
Yik Yak. True. Someone in the chat said fuck Yik Yak.
Yeah,
That
Yik
shit
Yak
was
was a
crazy.
different era.
That shit got banned from our school so quick.
Dang. Oh my god, dude, all the people say the most horrific
Yeah.
things. And I'm like, high school is definitely like, a growing pain.
Oh yeah.
But imagine if Yik Yak was there in middle school.
Girl.
That'd be so much worse when everyone's like extra hormonal.
If Twitter and Facebook, and like, not Facebook, like Twitter and Instagram were what they are now when I was in high school, oh girl, not a chance. My fat gay ass, literally not a chance. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, I never got a yik yak yacked about me, but I saw some nasty ones. Nasty
Yeah, we
fucking
never got
ones.
Yik Yacked about either, thank God.
I
But it was
know.
banned within like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like, it was crazy. Like there was like people were just saying the most awful things about other people, and I was like, oh my god, kids are ruthless.
Oh yeah.
And it's like that's what I'm saying. Like even like people growing up in this era of like wanting representation, and also like all these white kids going through the alt-right pipeline as well,
Yeah.
and just saying the most disgusting things they can think about to other people because they think it's funny. And then when they get older and they reap the consequences of what they did.
Well, yeah. Like I know you mentioned like that, like the becoming anti-racist is like that growing. It's like a
Mhm.
growing thing. It's something you need to like put access to. But like with the way everything's so online right now, like you like I don't know. It's definitely a whole different thing.
Well,
There's
it's up to your parents, though.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like if I have a child, right, and I'm parenting, like even like observing like how my aunt parents my cousin. Like, my cousin's 12, right? She's not allowed to have a TikTok. My kid's not gonna be allowed to have a TikTok.
Right, as she should.
Period. Like, because you're gonna be saying stuff that like you can't take back.
Yeah.
And it's like, even for me, like, I know, like, I've said some choice things, like, on my Facebook that I've had to delete
Yeah.
and be like, damn, like, bitch, you were a child. But it's like, if I'm ever confronted with it or whatever, like, thank God it was never anything crazy. But, like, I've said some things that are like, oh, damn, Taylor, like, that's fucked up. Like, you
Yeah.
shouldn't have said that, you know? And it's like, you're 13, 12 years old. Like, you don't know shit, you know what I'm saying? Or, like, know to an extent. But I feel like when you're 16 up, come on, baby.
Well, I think there's less excuses now too. Like that
Yeah.
shit, it is
Yeah.
so accessible. I mean, not like it's so much more accessible at least. I mean,
But
like
to a 12-year-old, though,
that's true. That's very true.
that's like, because that my thing is like, it's a like, my thing is this, like, if you drop the N-bomb on Xbox Live as a 12-year-old, fuck you. But I'm not gonna I'm personally not snatching college scholarships from you.
Right.
If you did that shit at 12, like, my cerebral cortex and the frontal lobe is still not developed.
Right.
But at 16, like, you know, like, and most of the girlies that do get canceled for this stuff did it at an age where they knew better.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why, like, people have discernment. People, like, black people aren't out here canceling 12-year-old kids. That's just not something that's happening.
Yeah, someone just commented, it's wild how nothing on the internet is private. I remember you would not give out your full name or birthday, and now it's like everything. Literally, because my first Facebook didn't even have my real name on it.
That's stranger danger #1.
Yeah.
Rule #1, stranger danger. Like, when we were kids, they were like, don't use your real name, don't put your birthday, don't put your personal information, because everyone was scared about, like, their security getting leaked.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, their identity, like, being, like, taken or whatever. Yeah, it's a different era. Like, people overshare now. It's oversharing.
I'm guilty of it. Bitch, I'll share my whole feelings out there.
I mean, y'all know everything about me.
I swear.
At this point, but because I'm a very open person, but, like, you know, like, there's some shit that you need to keep to yourself. Like, there's just some things you don't say. Like, if you don't want people to know it, don't say it.
Yeah.
Don't think it. Internet is literally forever. And, like, people learn it the hard way. And it's like, I give passes for children. Children! A child, a fetus. 12-year-old to me, 12 years old to me is a fetus. 13 is a fetus to me. 16 is where I'm like, all right, bitch.
Right.
It's like, come on. Because it's like, at some point, like, with a 12-year-old kid, you still have, like, control in a sense as an adult, like, as a parent. And, like, you need to parent. Like, you need to, like, parental controls exist for a reason.
Right.
Like, my kid's not getting an iPad.
Right.
Go the fuck outside.
They're actually going to live outside in the doghouse.
Literally, I'm building them a clubhouse and they're staying there. Like, no.
Well, it is a double-edged sword, because I think that there has been a lot of, like, radicalization done through social media, like, in a way that, like, we probably did, like, wasn't happening on Twitter when I first started in, like, 2013, you know? But at the same time, like, there's so much misinformation out there, and so much...
That's my pushback on that.
That there's so much misinformation?
Yeah, because it's like, even the radical kids on TikTok, right? Like, the people, so, like, I'm an old-ass bitch, apparently, allegedly. A 23-year-old is old on TikTok. So, like, I'm on leftist TikTok, or whatever you want to call it. I'm a communist, or whatever, but, you know, leftist
or whatever.
is digestible. So, like, I'm on leftist TikTok. And a lot of these kids don't know what they're talking about. And they're just like, you know, I'm a communist, I'm this, I'm that, I'm blah, 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 blah. And, like, spreading, they think, like, white boys on TikTok think communism is screaming at white supremacists online. Yeah. And they do way more harm than good. Because I'm like, y'all are platforming 4chan people and white supremacists and all of this. And, like, that's harming the communities you think you're helping.
Absolutely.
And it's also made that social justice a hobby, which I think why people can't stand people in the social justice sphere.
Right.
And I think that's part of the reason. There's also, like, people are racist. But, like, sometimes I'm like, can y'all hear me good? Y'all doing too much.
Yeah.
Sometimes y'all are doing too the fuck much.
When I saw someone...
When a 10-year-old asks you a question that's ignorant, You don't last their whole lives
Right.
and cancel them because they're fucking 10 years old. If it's a grown person or a 16 and up person, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But a 10-year-old, the baby, that's the problem. That's why your 10-year-old, first of all, should not be put in a position to be
Right.
blasted online in the first place. Do not let your child have TikTok. That's how I feel. TikTok is so, like, I feel like a TikTok should be like a teenage app.
On that same note, don't let your fucking kids have Xbox Live or PlayStation Network where
Get
they're
them
just
all, because
chatting
they're
with
all
whatever.
racist.
Just
All these
chatting with
racist assholes.
whoever. Girl.
Your kids are gonna get abducted. Like, literally, like, monitor your kids. People just be letting their kids, and kids are smart, bro.
Right.
They be like, they know how to do all this stuff, but they have all the technical skills, no common sense.
Yeah.
No common sense. So it's like really about how people like raising your kids to be good people and anti-racist is the first step in your kid not being a fucking awful human.
Yeah, and even if anti-racism isn't a priority to you, which fuck you if it's not, like your child will ruin their life. Like they're gonna get doxxed, they're gonna get all their scholarships taken away, like they're gonna ruin their life. So it's probably just in your better interest not to do that.
Like, it's just, and let them learn in a controlled environment.
In a controlled environment, that part.
Because it's like they can play Xbox. Let them have the Xbox. Don't give them the live. Make it so that their parties can only be their friends that you actually know in real life.
Literally. Because
It's not that hard.
I'm on Overwatch and I don't even voice chat because I'm afraid of them all. But like I hear people yelling at me, I'm like, y'all are babies. Like I'm fully playing with like 8-year-olds.
Kids will literally be like this. Get the fuck, you N-word.
Literally.
Fucking N-word. Move it. Get it together.
Yeah.
Go faster. You effing And I'm like, yo. Full stop.
Right, reel it in, baby. Do you even know what those words mean? And like,
But there's also the onus is also on these adult apps.
oh, 100%.
Weirdos, Twitch streamers.
Can y'all hear us good?
Y'all saying some crazy stuff. Like that's the thing. Like when I don't know. I don't want you to get banned from this damn app. But like when PewDiePie was out here saying the N word and everybody was like, he's forgiven. That should have been worse than what.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, y'all, come on. Like, I'm not
It's
saying
fucked
take
up.
the man's career away, but like, dude.
I am. What the fuck?
I mean, yeah. Okay, I am like that. Take his career.
Yeah.
But it's just like, yo, like you have the biggest platform in existence on the internet, like deadass. Besides, you're about to be surpassed by Cocomelon, but
Period.
I'd rather have Cocomelon have. I hope Cocomelon surpasses you soon.
Someone in the chat said Xbox Live as a middle schooler was such a bad place. I'll never use voice channel on a video game again because of it. Literally, like that shit is traumatizing. Also, I know we've kind of completely gotten off topic, but like the
It's
pedophilia.
important though. All of these things intertwine because it's like all of this is like the root of the anti-blackness in the gaming world.
Yeah.
Literally, these streamers that are anti-black as fuck think that like this dark humor, quote unquote dark humor, is funny. That it's not, that their impact isn't felt by like 5-year-olds playing games with them.
Mm-hmm.
And that these kids aren't like these are their idols, bro. They're gonna do what they do.
Yeah.
So, like if you're out here saying the N-word and calling people all types of like, you know, slurs and stuff like on the games and like normalizing that, then that's what they're gonna do. Because they're 12, because they're 10, because they're 8 years old. Because that's what they do. They mimic what they see.
Literally.
Because humans are literally sponges. Like kids are sponges. Like they don't have discernment. Like they're learning morality, but not to catch up with the things they see. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
as kids, like we don't always understand why things are the way that they are. You don't get that shit until you're like high school, college
Mm-hmm.
age, where you actually begin to really be like, man, life's crazy. Like capitalism's really ruining the world.
Right. Right.
Like, you know, like I wasn't saying none of that until like my freshman year of college. Like I have problematic ass views just because my dad had them.
Brennan just said I'm 6 in the chat. Yeah, but his parents only let him watch me, and it's on my sister's
Okay,
account.
good job. See,
Right.
This 6-year-old should be watching this.
Well, that's the thing, because like, literally, I was just gonna bring this up because like literally, my nephew plays Minecraft, and my nephew is completely self-sufficient in Minecraft, fully playing this game by himself. So like, if someone that age is watching these people play Minecraft, because Minecraft has a wide reach, like my age, older, younger, like that is like fundamental years for these kids, and especially if they want to continue in the gaming community and be a part of the gaming community for the rest of their lives. Those are fundamental years, and so if they're watching these streamers say the N word or on these things, these challenges that are racist or misogynistic or transphobic, like that is going to literally shape them. I'm sick. Get your fucking kid off Twitch.
Get your kids off of Twitch. I mean, I just think that, like, even honestly, my thing is, I really just think that parents just need to also just be involved with what the content your kids are consuming.
Yeah.
Like, that's really it, honestly. Like, monitor your children. You don't know what they're up to, and I'm saying that because of stuff that I did as a child on the internet. Like, I wish my parents knew what the fuck I was up to.
Swear to God.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that would, like, you be learning. Like, those are lessons learned, but lessons that should not have been learned at 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
So it's just, like, I'm not saying be a helicopter parent, but, like, the internet is dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's predators, there's racists, there's transphobes, all of that shit's, like, on the internet.
And your kid's gonna hate it. Like, if I was 13 listening to this, I'd be like, fuck those old pieces of shit saying I shouldn't have my iPhone. But, like, girl.
Your kid will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they'll literally be fine. Like, my mom made decisions that I couldn't stand her for before, and then now I'm like, alright, we're on to something, sis.
Right.
Your mind is so powerful.
I guess that's part of it.
Yeah, so teach your kids not to be racist. Don't be a racist asshole. Don't be a dusty. And, like, give your kids diverse content. Like, let them watch Cartoon Network.
Make them watch Cartoon Network.
Make them watch Cartoon Network. They're gonna find something they like.
Swear.
Like, I don't even know what Nickelodeon's up to right now.
Girl, me either.
Channel is like, okay.
Right.
Like, what even is Nickelodeon as a channel anymore? Trash. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just feel like the content that kids have to consume now is, like, exorbitant, but also limited at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, the quality is, like, deficient now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like because kids were so into TV, like, quality television used to be a thing. Like, quality shows, but now it's just, like, kids are obsessed with the internet.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like, there is no accountability, like, legal accountability that these creators have towards kids. I mean, they're starting to be now.
Mm-hmm.
But when all this started, like, began, there was no legal accountability for what kids can and cannot consume.
Right.
Like, there's literal laws around, like, advertising to children and things like that exist. But there's really not, like, that realm of, like, streaming and content creation and stuff like that, and, like, what audiences they're applicable for. It's not as managed and well structured as it is in, like, a real, like, corporate industry sense.
Yeah.
And even the corporate industry still fucks kids up. So imagine what's happening to them now.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, technology's, like, amazing, but terrifying at the same time.
Yeah, literally so scary.
In my personal opinion.
Yeah.
And I think, like, we have that unique experience because it's, like, we're able to see our lives before and after.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, like, there's things that improve, like, cool stuff like this. But it's also, like, I do miss people at dinner not touching their phones.
Yeah.
And my little cousin always on their damn iPad. Like,
well, we're like the last generation who has that. And probably the only generation who can see the before and after so clearly. Mm-hmm. Interesting shit. We're old as fuck.
Millennial gang. Period.
Gang.
But yeah, man, anti-blackness in gaming and nerd culture is, like, insane.
Stop ignoring it. It's there. You're, like, willfully. If you don't think it's there, you're, like, willfully being ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
You're, like, trying.
I would love to, like, in the future do more talks like this because this was fun.
Yeah, once you get your Switch, we'll actually be playing something.
Yeah, maybe I can see if I can make a Twitch account or whatever. However you people do this, maybe I can figure it out and maybe it won't fry my laptop.
Swear. So.
But I did buy this just in time, so my setup's all cute.
I was gonna say, look at her setup, Miss Professional.
I love it.
All right, bitch. Cool. Yeah, she's got a podcast.
I'm not a streamer, but
yeah.
Her.
Another. I'll just do another quick call to Venmo me at Quincy Nolan because we were buying Tayla a Switch. If y'all want to donate a little something something for this black woman, giving you her time to educate y'all. We're getting her a Switch.
I would
I'm
love a Switch.
I'm so mad I'm working right now. This is the first time I'm tuning in. Well, Jasmine, quit your fucking job, Dusty. Um,
Do you know them?
yeah, that's my best friend.
Okay, I was like, oh no, I was so.
Yeah,
I was
no,
like,
no,
not
no.
the dragon
That's my bitch. She's the one who cut my hair.
Oh, you did so good. You did great.
My little mullet. I was last night on the stream. I was like, Tayla told me my mullet is interesting. The word she uses is interesting,
It
which I
was
love.
interesting, especially you look.
Yeah,
I was
it's
like,
new.
okay, that's new.
Little '80s tease. You can tell
Little
my mental
80s.
health's really in a good spot because I cut a mullet. But
But
anything
yeah,
else you want to bring up before we wrap up?
um, should Taylor become a streamer?
Absolutely.
We'll see. I don't
How's the
make money.
how's the Wi-Fi in Austria? Would you even be able to do that?
Yeah, my
Would you?
Wi-Fi in my apartment's great,
Oh, good.
and I have like an Ethernet and stuff
Oh, period.
at my apartment, but I don't have like a I could buy like a cable thing to like do all of that, but like it's really more about my computer and also
Yeah.
like streaming times as well. Like I feel like there I would have to be streaming at night all the time.
Oh, yeah.
For
Because your audience
if
here, yeah.
yeah, unless like I mean I just kind of want to talk about like on my streams. Unless I don't. I mean if I get the Switch, then like of course I'll play games. But like I don't know. I just want to like vibe and just talk to people and
Yeah.
have fun. Because I feel like I'm fun to talk
You're all right.
to.
Wait, so what are we should probably like let's talk about something a little more fun before we just like wrap up. What are some of your favorite games like from your childhood that really like
Oh
got you
yes.
together?
Um. Okay, so the Pokemon franchise, of course.
Period.
Like I said, Sapphire is my favorite rendition of Pokemon. Per
Mm-hmm.
like nothing can tell me like Rayquaza's not like the baddest bitch. I don't know. Like I mean, Kyogre's my favorite, but like Rayquaza from like
Yeah.
Emerald as
She
well. Like
is
that
that
shit is
bitch.
cool as fuck too.
Right.
Um.
They really
What
started
else?
wilding with the legendaries there. Like it was all like,
Yeah.
here's a bird, and now it's like the sky dragon. All right, bet.
I was like, oh my god, like this is insane. Like I
Yeah.
remember when the drop happened, like it was crazy. But no, like me and my brother played a shit ton of games. Uh, my favorite game of all time as a kid, and y'all probably haven't heard this in a long time. On the GameCube, I played Sonic Heroes all the time.
Period, bitch. I have Sonic
It's my
Heroes. What's
game.
good?
Can we? Is that possible to play?
I'm not.
Oh,
We would have to use my PS2 or an emulator, but that shit was lit. Like one of the last good Sonic games. And I'm not even sure if it was good because I was like 11 when I was playing it. But that shit
yeah, like
smacked.
Sonic Heroes was like, first of all, the music.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wait, let me go ahead and I'm gonna play
Girl,
something for
that game is
y'all.
so weird. Like the way they stack you up on each other like that, and just have you like that. It's so
Yeah,
wild. But the
but it
music,
was so
Sonic
good.
Heroes. Like yeah.
Like, let's just appreciate this. Oh wait, you guys are gonna be here. I have my headphones in.
Also, I can appreciate that they gave a hedgehog tits. That is major. That actually ignore everything we just
Are you
said.
talking
That's
about
the
Amy?
representation we're looking for. You can ignore the rest of it.
Wario World
Oh,
um was so much fun. Uh, like
what's the game you like
Wario
most?
World,
Go ahead.
huh?
No, no, keep going.
Say it again. Yeah, Wario World. I think it. Okay, wait, no. Was it Wario World or was it like the one where Wario was like at the pyramids on the? It was on. It was like on Game Boy.
Oh, that was like Super Mario Land,
No, wait, no, wait. I'm gonna find it. Wait,
where Wario was like the
Wario
main
in
baddie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's like Super Mario Land, like Curse of the 3 coins, 6 coins or something. Yeah, that
Oh.
game was
Oh,
fire.
Wario Land, Wario Land.
Wario Land, yeah,
Yes, yes, yes. That game, fire!
yeah.
I was up on that all
No,
the
that
time.
was really good. That was definitely like, uh, it like revamped Mario a bit. Like it was like
Yeah, like
new.
yeah, it was wire. Like yeah, yeah, yeah. This game was crazy. Like These bosses
Yeah,
were
I'm kind of getting
insane.
flashbacks a little bit. That game was so good.
Like it really was. Like it was genuinely, but it freaked me out a little bit. But like it definitely was a bit strange. Like, do you see these bosses?
Are you trying to?
Weird,
Yeah.
creepy.
Uh huh.
Like this person, what was that?
Oh
What
wait,
was
no, that's not the
that?
one I was thinking of. Click on the little Game Boy cartridge to the left of that.
Oh,
No,
yeah, this
that's not what
isn't
I
the
was
one
thinking
I'm
of
thinking
either.
of.
No,
I'm
I
thinking
don't
of
think I've ever played that one, but
this one. This one.
were you
This is the
play
one.
you played as Wario? No, I don't think I ever played
Yeah,
that.
you played as Wario. Yeah,
No.
and then like you had like the yeah, and there
Oh
was like
my
the bees
god, what
and
the?
like it was crazy. Like it was a crazy game. Like I don't
That's
know. I don't know if
wild.
anyone else remembers that, but can you
Anyone
still
in
see
the
my screen?
chat
I
ever
think.
played that, or is that Taylor's fever dream? Also, I'm sending you a picture. I'm sending you a picture of what they call the first black character because I can't share my screen. That's my
Oh, okay.
yeah. So someone else knew what that game was. So you're good. My brother-in-law just said that game was dope. I don't remember it,
Thank you. It was so good. That
but
was
this
the
is
game.
this is what they call the first black character.
All
Representation
right.
on fleek with his flat top.
No! Was he playing basketball?
I think it was football. It was probably the early Madden games.
I'm in tears. Okay, that's another cool thing that's happened, like that's changed through times. Is like how good games look compared to what they were looking like when we were kids.
Yeah,
Oh my god, crazy. But yeah, Mario Kart Double Dash will always be the best Mario Kart. I don't care what anyone says.
and that game was
Um,
hard. That shit was hard. I was also 11, but hard.
it was very hard, and like that's like my dad bought me that game. Like my
Aw.
dad bought me my first GameCube when I was 6, just so he could play it. Ghetto. But like that's when I first got my first GameCube. We played, yeah, Double Dash. We played Super Mario Party. My favorite Mario Party is actually on DS. I
Oh,
think it
which
was Mario
one?
Party 8 or something.
Mario Party 8's on the Wii. It might have been just Mario
On the
Party
Wii.
DS.
Okay, yeah, just Mario Party DS was super fun. I remember like okay, this is feverish. This is feverish. But like remember when everyone had their like DSs, like the DSi, and like you could send each other messages and stuff, and then like they would always tell you to put your DS up at school so you can't send messages to
Bitch,
people.
I was too poor for all that. I had
Oh
like a
my
game. I had a
god!
Game Boy Color when everyone else had like a DS. I got my
I'm
own
so
DS like
sorry for
after I had
you.
my own job.
Dude, I
No, rub
remember
it in,
like
why don't you?
I'm so sorry
No, I'm
because
playing. I'm
like
kidding. I'm kidding.
that
I'm
was
kidding.
an era like when everyone had it wasn't a DSi, it wasn't DSi. DSi was when like my mom was like, "All right, I don't have the money for this."
Yeah.
But it was a DS Lite, I believe.
And like Picto Chat and stuff, and you'd send
Yeah,
like
Picto
an
Chat.
ejaculating penis to everyone on the bus. Yeah.
Yes. And then you could like I mean Mario Kart for the first time, like that was an era when you could
Oh,
literally play with other
yeah.
people like on the DS. Like that was like a game changer.
And if they didn't have the game, they could just play a shy guy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was like like that was tech that in
Yeah.
my mind was like technology.
Right.
I was like,
I still don't
whoa.
understand it. I'm like, but you better work. And it was all free. You weren't paying online prices or anything.
Literally, there was no
That
exactly
was
like
it.
gaming
That
used
was
to be
it.
so simple.
I remember looking at games like on the PS2 being like, wow, how could graphics get any better? Like, this looks
Literally.
amazing. And now it all looks like us. Who's your main in Mario Kart?
The Mario babies.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
Double Dash, that's who I did too.
The,
Because like their
the
chain
first
chomp,
thing.
like power up
Yeah,
thing
their
was the
chain chomp
best.
was like the best thing.
Yeah.
So that was like my main. Um, and my main in Super Smash Brothers is Peach.
Period. As you fucking should.
And people used to call me like it. Okay, so I remember like I organized 3 Super Smash Brothers tournaments in high school.
Period.
And these are like, of course, like the regular Wii versions. And people used to drag me because I only like I played with my Wiimote. And I'm like,
Oh,
but I
yeah.
would still kick your ass with my Wiimote without any attachments
Yeah, the
and still
GameCube
watch
controller, the
you.
classic controller, yeah.
Like who? Like I just thought the GameCube controller was a little confusing. Like I didn't like Melee really, to be honest.
Oh,
Like I guess
bitch, you're
that's
about
like
to get
I know
dragged.
drag me, drag me. It's fine. I think I didn't like Melee that much because of how old I was when it came out.
Yeah, that's
And
fair.
so like this is the thing, like when you have brothers and they're older than you, they do this thing where they unplug your controller and you don't actually unplug the game. Okay, that's why I didn't like it. Thank you very much.
So
Literally,
you were going to
my
town
day,
and
like
you weren't doing shit.
literally, I'm over here like, literally, it's just like me over here like, and like I didn't start realizing it until like maybe a year after.
Jesus.
Oh, and another game I played a lot was Halo.
Mm.
Halo 2 was an era. Everyone and their
Yeah.
mom had Halo 2. That was such an era.
Me and Ian used to play that.
Oh yeah, and RuneScape.
I never played Melee, and people give me shit for that all the time. I mean, we were pretty young when Melee came out.
Yeah, where?
Also, spoiler alert: the Sheik to Zelda transformation that was spoiled for me through Melee. I played Melee before I played Ocarina of Time, so I did not know that. Like, I thought that was I don't know. And then the thing is, after I played that, I went back and I was watching my dad play like an old Zelda, and I was like, "Is that Sheik? Is that actually Princess Zelda dressed up?" I thought the whole premise of the game was that it was like Zelda dressed up, which honestly is what it should be. But
I'm crying. Yeah, like it's just a different era. Like,
it's crazy. I'd go back in a heartbeat.
I played RuneScape too. I never got into World of Warcraft.
Neither did I.
But I was a RuneScape bitch. My name on RuneScape was Popo213.
Period.
Very, very anti-black. Don't know why I named myself after a cop, but that was my name. My name was Popo213 on so many things. I think it was just because it was easy to remember. It had nothing to do with cops, but like now I think about it, I'm like, girl, what?
Right, you were a full cop.
A full cop. What else?
That's
What
the thing I
other
hate about thinking back to like Resident Evil. Like Jill Valentine, one of my favorite characters, fully a cop, fully worked for Raccoon City Police Department. And then I was like looking at getting her tattooed, and I was like, actually, I don't think I could. Give me a Zelda game where Zelda has to save Link. Bitch, how has there not been? How has there not been? Also,
Is there a game where Peach saves Mario?
yeah, but it's also kind of problematic. It's called Super Princess Peach. Also,
Mm-hmm.
in the newest Mario, like she doesn't. It's not her that's captured, but
Mm-hmm.
you get to play as her. But in Super Princess Peach, like all her powers are based off her emotions, which is a little bit like, yeah, like she like has a tantrum and like cries and like kills the enemies and stuff.
I
Yeah,
mean, that's basically her. I'll say this: like, Peach is such a good character to play in Smash if you know what you're doing.
yeah.
But I hate her special move.
Oh,
Like,
trash.
okay, everyone goes to sleep. Okay, and then you got motherfuckers that can be like, who is it? Captain Falcon's freaking
Yeah,
final
one hit.
move. It like freaks me out. I'm like, yo, like, how can you not die?
Once you get your
Like,
Switch, it'll be so much better. Like you have to play the new one, and you'll understand it so much better.
okay, yeah.
Because
The
everyone's
last
shit gets updated.
Smash is the last rendition of. Is it still Smash?
Yeah, yeah, Smash Ultimate now.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I think I played that. I'm pretty sure. Okay, like there's this place
Well,
called
we played it at Jet's
yeah.
house.
Oh, yeah, see, I was trying to remember what era I was playing that in, and
Yeah,
that's why I
yeah,
forgot. That makes complete sense now.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh. Anyways, ciao.
Ciao. Oh, I'm reading the comments. This
Me
is
dad
funny.
is here. All right,
Aw,
Brittany.
hello, Dad.
Yeah.
Your nephew's dad. But yeah, like I'm trying to think, was there anything else? I played a lot of like online simulation games. So like Mies. I don't know if anyone knows what Mies was, but like Mies, um, the Pillsbury games, all the Cartoon Network online
The
games.
Teen Titans one, that shit smacked.
My favorite one was the Lunchroom Rumble on Ed, Ed and Eddie.
Oh,
Was my
period.
favorite game. On Cartoon Network, and then like Class of 3000 had like this music maker game,
Yeah.
and then like Camp Rock had like this Guitar Hero like game as well.
Damn, they don't do
And
that
because I couldn't
anymore.
afford, yeah, they don't do it. They don't like.
No one's doing it like they used to.
No one is doing it like they used to. Like, is the old boy from Lilo and Stitch making the sandwiches on the
Right.
game? That
I
game is
played
so
that for
fun. The
hours.
Sandwich Shack game.
I'd go to the library, log in, and be like, all right, bet, I'm here for good.
Literally, you would go to your public library. Does anyone even do that? Do people
Literally.
even know there's computers at the public library? That's all I did as a kid. All my parents would do is drop me off at the library and be like, okay, goodbye. We'll be
I was
back
literally
in
just saying that, like,
time.
my mom used to as, like, babysitting, and I'd be like, bet, flash my card, do you know exactly where I'm going?
You get on the computer, and then remember you used to get the little receipt for the time limit that you had, and
Yeah.
so you couldn't get a login for like another 30 minutes in between. So I would be doing that, and I'd go read my Judy B. Jones.
Period.
Bitch, what an
Anybody else
era! Like
remember this? Does
what
anybody
an
else?
era!
Damn. What a time.
We should just do a stream on nostalgia.
I should. Well, because I think
That'd be so
so.
fun.
Like my new schedule is gonna be like Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays, and then Sundays are gonna be like special things like this. If I have
Hmm.
one, you know. I also want to do one where I show off all my toys. All my
You should.
toys.
You should have so much stuff.
OMG, Freddy Fish and Putt Putt were the games at the library. Period, bitch.
Oh, facts, facts, facts.
I actually don't know what
Yeah,
those ones
like
are, but
there were so many good games online.
mhm.
Like you don't find shit to play anymore. Like I'd be online trying like Papa's Pizzeria.
Is that still up?
Eats. Yeah, but you know like a lot of these browsers are like taking away Flash. I don't even think you can play it anymore.
Oh, really?
So
Damn.
it's like the
Oh
Papa's
yeah.
Pizzeria. I was playing that over the quarantine. Papa's Pancakeria. Period. Y'all
Uh,
can't tell me nothing about
Ken
that
said that
game. Like
someone said they loved the Papa's games.
her. All of them are elite. They are so good at passing the time. Like Papa's Pancakeria, elite. You can make the
I
blueberry
am
cakes, waffles, all that.
I am 23 years old, and I have a premium Neopets account. Bitch, you better get your fucking Neopets thing. Also,
I love that for you. All the Barbie
Barbies.com.
games.
I never played those.
No. No, but okay, but remember the game? What is it? Ooh, babes. Oh my god. There's this one game, because, okay, you know that you had to be there trend on Twitter right now?
Yeah.
Someone posted like one of the dress up games. There was like the My Scene one, there was the Barbie one, and then there's like I think it was like the All Star dress up game. Yo, those dress up games?
You are stunting.
Period! Like, oh, I would. Like, they had us look at, first of all, basically it was like everyone dressing up your girlies as like to look like Paris Hilton, because those were the icons back
Yeah.
then. Like Britney, Paris, like, yo, like
Lindsay.
you were dressing to the goods, like all of them. Like, that was a different era. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Kids don't know nothing about that. I feel old right now.
Someone
Like,
did
they
it. Did
really.
anyone else play the Codenames Kid Next Door games or on Cartoon Network? Oh yeah. Period.
Yes, yes. The Codename Kids Next Door one where there was the one where you like slingshot the hamsters. There's that
Yeah.
one, and then there's the one where you're like just fighting or whatever. Like that was so fun. The Codename Kids Next Door games were that bitch.
And there was a
Period.
Tom and Jerry one that you had to like use to like get through a trap or whatever. I used to play that
The
a lot.
cheese one, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, what an era! We're really like, oh, I'm getting emotional. I miss
I
those.
know.
It was so fun. It
I
was
played
so
so
fun.
many. Wait, and then did the nail salon one. I played so many dress up games. Period, bitch. Explains why we all stunt now, because we have all that experience.
Literally, like we learned. Okay, when I said cooking mama, anyone? Diner Dash, anyone? Like, come on! Like, stop playing with me. Diner Dash.
It's so funny because like we talk about these games like Cookie Mama, and I'll be in there cooking for hours, and then like I won't make myself a fucking pot of mac and cheese. Like, nah, bitch, that's too much. I'll keep that shit virtual.
Yo, I be cooking now, and it's not as fun as the game.
Oh yeah, there's a
Just so
Cooking
y'all know.
Mama game on the Switch. Once you get your Switch, you'll
Are you
yeah.
kidding me? You're lying.
No, full stop. That's not the right way to say that, but yeah.
Full stop. For real though, you're right. Like, what? Cooking Mama? That was my game. That's all I'll play. If I make a Twitch, it's gonna be like we're playing Cooking
You're a
Mama.
Cooking Mama streamer. I
All we're
love that.
playing. That is
I
all we're playing.
I really like the pizza game in Club Penguin. I never had Club Penguin. Again, too broke for that.
Yeah, Pub claim it. That Club Penguin costed money. So did the Beanie Babies games. And
Wizard
what was that
101?
other no, but it was the Beanie Babies. What is the other? The Pillow Pets.
Oh.
Didn't they have their own online game?
Yeah.
Bitch.
I wanted to play Toon Tower. Oh my god, I wanted to play Toon Tower too. We couldn't
Oh
afford
my
it.
god, what was the one the cartoon one, Cartoon Network, Fusion Fall? Or Fall Fusion?
Something like that.
I think it was called Fusion Fall. That was a different era. And also the Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends games were cool too.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't
it
know
was
that
called.
they had free accounts on Club Penguin.
They do, but you can't do nothing. I
Oh.
had a free account, and you couldn't do shit. And also, I would always get in trouble for cussing, and they'd always kick
And
me
you'd
out.
look oh my god, I had a Neopets account at the library, and
Webkins! That's what I meant. Webkins. Webkins.
I named my kid my Neopet Teabag. And it got deleted. And girl, I'm sitting there like 6 years old, like, what does this mean? Because like I just heard my brother say it. I was like, oh, I had no idea. But I even
Okay,
spelled it
so
like
this.
Teabag.
I'm crying.
Club
This
Penguin
is
was
a
fun
thing.
and we didn't pay a cent. Well, I missed out.
I love that for you. I couldn't do it. Now, Trolls, the website, I feel like no one knows what this is. This one. These girls right here,
Ew, not Takashi six
not
nine.
not the Nicki Minaj, not the 6ix9ine, but the Trolls website.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Bitch, they
I
were
used to play all of these
serving.
games. Remember this?
Bitch, they said category
What?
is hair. They said bring it to the runway.
Category is, do you see them? You had your
Ugh.
own house. You got a job. Basically, Trolls prepared you
Ugh.
for your life, but in style. That was a whole
And they were
other era.
skinty.
They were skinty, but they had some big ass hair. But like,
Damn.
I loved this game. Like, I was obsessed. Oh, and the Powerpuff Girls game where you could like save the people from the zoo.
Bitch, I don't
I
remember
love
that.
that. Dude, that was so fun. Wait, let me show you. It was
So
fun.
this one might be a long shot, but did anyone else here play the Millsbury game? I have no recollection of that.
Yes, the Millsbury one where you had your own account and like you had to like feed if you got pets and stuff, you'd feed them. But the one you had a full account. All the kids played that at my Boys and Girls Club. But like it seems like no one ever remembers it. You're the first person that's ever actually confirmed that they actually also, you know, like Millsbury.
I have no idea what that is.
You're not talking about this?
No, someone in the chat said that.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was like, wait, you're hurting me right now.
No, and then they said you could build a house and the expansions were so expensive.
This was an era. This right here?
Girl, I have no idea what that is.
This is the Millsbury game. What Millsbury game were you playing?
No, they're agreeing. They're saying that's what it is. I've never played Millsbury. I was reading from the chat.
Oh, I'm so hurt. I fuck with y'all. I
And
played
then someone said,
Millsbury.
anyone play the Tycoon games? I played Roller Coaster Tycoon, Zoo
Roller
Tycoon, and
Tycoon,
Mail Tycoon.
Zoo Tycoon, and Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Isn't
I was
Thrillville like that? I used to play Thrillville.
I'm not sure what Broomville is, but it probably is. Let me Google it. Since we're here.
I fucking love Zoo and Roller Coaster Tycoon. Didn't y'all just kill the people? And someone else said Sims was important to me too. Yeah, Sims is a classic.
Sims is that girl.
I had Sims on
I literally have
3DS.
Facebook pictures of my Sims.
I had Sims on the 3DS and I would just like get a little excited watching them do hoo ha. Thrillville had such a good soundtrack. True.
I'm crying. Yeah, Zoo Tycoon. I would just let the animals loose, not the people. And like, but making the Roller Coaster Tycoon, I took serious though.
I like making my family in Sims and then cheating on my husband with the maid. Period. But you better have a full ass soap opera on your fucking Sims channel. You better
Wait, but
fucking do
remember,
it.
okay. Wait, remember early era YouTube gaming and like people would do like the 100 baby challenge on Sims? Or is that just me?
I don't remember that. You'll have to see if the chat's got your back.
That was definitely a thing. The 100 baby challenge. A whole nother era. Like, nothing. It was a weird time. It was a very weird time.
Are you on Sims
Yeah,
TikTok?
I'm not on Sims TikTok. Is that a thing?
Julia says yes, that she remembers that. My friend tried to do that and
Thank
it's hard.
you.
100 baby? Don't they die?
It's very scary. No, so like okay, so like the goal is like to have as many Sims possible have kids at once. So it's not necessarily like only one person has to have 100 babies, but like the people in your family total have to have 100
Oh.
babies. And so like generationally you build over time 100 people like in your family basically.
Did you ever do it?
No, it takes too long. It takes like 90 plus days.
Ew, really? Holy shit.
And like no one wants to cheat. Like you know what I'm saying? Like if you're cheating, like you accelerate like how old people get soon, like you
Oh,
change the
yeah.
settings and stuff, and it's like it's no
What's the
fun that
point?
way.
Yeah.
But I liked watching people do it. Like I loved watching people make the fake Sims storylines on YouTube.
Yeah.
I loved watching this is what I'm talking about. We were like the internet wasn't that impactful on us. This is all we were all this is on the internet. um but yeah, also Sim City, that bitch.
Never heard of
I
her.
love SimCity. Yo, if you like organizing stuff,
Not
I don't know.
really. I mean, like, Minecraft's like the closest thing I get to that.
Oh well, I liked it.
Yeah.
You just manage your own city and you build it up and stuff. It's fun. I enjoyed it.
And like
It's like a
CD-ROM
new thing
games,
to
that was so fun. I would always spam Motherload on Sims.
me too, baby. Motherload's the best cheat code ever.
Wow, this is now Tayla's stream.
Sorry.
No, I like it. Yeah, I don't play Sims without cheating. Oh, oh, banned.
That's fair.
The mod, kick her out. Just kidding, that is the mod.
Yeah, it's. I mean, Motherload is like an acceptable cheat because like no one plays Sims to actually like do real life, you know.
Some people do. Some people go mad hard with The Sims.
But do they do it so that like, but they don't use Motherload though?
I know. I don't know
Like
what that even
they want
means.
their Sims to suffer. Motherload just means like every time you type in Motherload, you get like $10,000 or
Uh,
simoleons.
yeah.
So it's like, it's addicting. Like once I found out you could do that, like my friend Ryan put me onto Sims. I was never the same.
Yeah.
My Sims era and my Tumblr era came at the same time. Like I didn't start
Wow.
playing Sims seriously until Sims 3 Seasons, and then I downloaded it from them. And yeah, like
That
I
was
used
your
to like
peak, bitch. That was the most powerful, your most powerful era.
that was a powerful time. I was making AMVs. I was doing Sims on Tumblr. What an era.
Someone in the chat says, I loved building huge, ugly mansions. Period.
Yo, I need to be a Sim streamer, but like I don't want to play Sims 4. I don't like Sims 4. It's
You
not
don't have
good.
to. I'm sure there's people who stream the other Sims.
I'm gonna find them. I want to watch a Sim stream. That sounds fun.
Yeah, there's so many of them.
That sounds incredibly entertaining. Okay, that's what y'all's next task is to help me become a Twitch streamer with Sims because
Sims
clearly there's an interest.
Sims 4 is not as good as 3, but I'm still a Sim simp and own all the expansions. Doesn't that get expensive? Aren't the
Yeah, that's what I'm
expansions
to say. You
expensive?
got money unless you're illegally downloading it.
Well, bitch, me and my friends spend shmoney on games. Like, that is what we spend our shmoney on. Oh,
I don't have any money to spend.
I know.
I
Well, that's
want
why we're getting you a
money.
Twitch, bitch. A Twitch? A
Aw.
Switch, bitch. But also sales and bundles. Yeah, shit goes on sale a lot. That's it. That is nice.
I want to do like I would love to do a roller coaster tycoon stream.
But people do that too. You'd be surprised.
I just need to find all these people that play all the games I used to like playing.
Like, there's such a huge community for that.
Because I love me some roller coaster tycoon. That's a vibe. Like I could play that, but that's the thing. This is the problem. It's like I stopped gaming in college because I knew I would get distracted.
Yeah.
That's why I stopped.
Yeah, I
It's like
played a
my
lot
freshman
less
year.
games in college than I do now.
But now I'm in college still, so I'm like, and I just don't do my work.
Yeah, same.
Don't tell anyone I said that.
Yeah, Ken just said I streamed Mario 64 and a lot of people came. So I mean, there is like a market for that like nostalgia era stuff.
Yeah, I'm just like, that's like seems like my vibe.
Yeah,
I would love to do roller coaster tycoon.
as you should.
That was a fun time of my life. That was a good time. Like my dad like bought it for me. My dad bought me all my games, to be honest. My mom would like indulge in it too, but like, you know, you have to earn it from her. My dad didn't care. He was just like, I'll
Yeah.
buy it because that means I get to play it too.
Yeah.
And my dad had all the original Sims, like all of them on DVD or CD.
Oh, your dad was a nerd.
Oh, my dad went to like game drops. Like he would sleep overnight to get certain
I love
systems
that.
and stuff.
I
Like,
love
that was
that.
insane.
I love that shit.
Like I will say this imperialist ass game, don't play it, but like, to anyone play Command and Conquer Generals?
Not the
It's so fun.
colonialism.
I mean, it wasn't really. I mean, yeah, it was. I don't know, actually. I honestly couldn't tell you if it was colonialist or not because I played it like when I was really young
Hmm.
because my dad played it. But like, you used to be able to like shoot like satellite beams at the enemy. It was fun
It's crazy how
for what
much
it
of, like
was.
how much of the games like really were like military propaganda. Like there's
Yeah,
like a lot of that,
yeah. Most things are,
to be honest.
unfortunately.
Yeah. Or at least upholding the system in some way or another.
Hmm. But yeah, Quincy, those are my games. Those are my favorite things.
Love that. This was so fun. Thank you so much again for coming on. Anyone's last chance, if anyone wants to throw some money to Taylor's Switch Fund, Venmo me at Quincy Nolan, and we will order that ASAP so that we can, you know, game together. Um, any final? You want to plug your shit?
Yeah, so if you're interested in keeping up with me, you can find me on all platforms at everything TMI. Um, so on TikTok, on Instagram, I guess maybe on Twitch.
Oh,
That's to be seen.
oh,
Oh, oh, oh. We'll see. And also on YouTube. I make travel related content, political content, and then on the occasion, like talk about nerdy stuff. I also have a podcast called Team I the Podcast, which I love to do. New episodes will be coming out within like the next week. So I'm really excited about that. So be sure to listen to that. And there's also like 8 episodes that you can listen to before you get to the new episode.
specifically
Um,
Black Femin Nerd. Listen to that one.
yeah, specifically Black Feminine Nerd was such a fun episode to do.
Yeah.
But also like super insightful and like just talks about like things that we can be doing better and like the nerd community and a nerd culture. So yeah, that's me. And if you just wanna, chat offline about, being a better fucking human being, you can message me, feel free. But yeah, this was super fun. Just don't be an anti-black sack of shit and do
Period.
better. Make this world a better place.
Do
But yeah,
better.
that's me.
All right, thank you everyone for watching and joining and chatting. We'll do more things like this in the future, and yeah, thanks guys.